All right, Madam Vice President Corso, the time is now 9:03 a.m. and you can call the meeting to order.
Good morning, colleagues, staff, members of the public. It is 9:03 and we are calling our October 7th, 2025 meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the County Board of Supervisors, and we will start with having our clerk of the board provide information on how the public can participate in this meeting.
Thank you. All right, members of the public, live interpretation of this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services in Zoom via laptop or computer, please click the interpretation globe icon and select the Spanish language. If you're using smartphone or tablet, please locate the three-dot menu, select interpretation, and then select the Spanish language. At this time, I would like my colleague Victor Hernandez to provide these instructions in Spanish.
Thank you, Suki. If I may,
Oh, yes, I'm
Vice
so
Chair,
sorry, please.
it has been an honor and a delight in working alongside you, and you're going to be dearly missed. Good morning, Vice President Corzo, Mr. Callaghy, Miss Rodriguez, Mr. Nivlin, all county staff, members of the public, Victor Hernandez, Spanish interpreter. Buenos días. Les queremos dejar saber a todos ustedes hoy, honorable supervisors. Les queremos dejar saber a todos hoy que se les proporcionará interpretación en vivo de toda esta reunión en español. Para acceder a lo que es el servicio de interpretación en vivo por Zoom, ya sea con una computadora o una portátil, usted tendrá que hacer clic en lo que es un icono del globo terráqueo, es decir, un mundo, que aparecerá al fondo de su pantalla y después seleccione el idioma que sea español. Si usted está utilizando lo que es un teléfono inteligente o una tableta, busque el menú de 3 puntos, seleccione interpretación y luego seleccione el idioma español. Y por último, usted tendrá que hacer clic en Done o Listo. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those instructions. We will now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the pledge.
Mic check.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney Niblin, I understand that Supervisor Canepa is participating remotely via the standard teleconference rules set forth in the Brown Act, which requires no action by this board.
That's true. His location of participation is published in the agenda today.
Thank you. And I also understand that Supervisor Spear is participating remotely pursuant to just cause rules in AB 2449, and that there are some things you'll confirm for the record for Supervisor Spear to participate.
Yes, Supervisor Corza, thank you. As has been noted, Supervisor Spears informed the county that she will be participating remotely in today's meeting pursuant to the provisions of AB 2449, and specifically Supervisor Spears indicated there's just cause to participate remotely as she is dealing with a medical issue. And I would just ask Supervisor Spear to confirm that I've accurately described the circumstances underlying the request to participate remotely today.
That's correct, Mr. Nivelin.
Thank you, Supervisor Spear. Under AB 2449, a board member participating remotely must use both audio and visual technology. And in addition, the member must give notice if there's anyone over the age of 18 in the room with the member. No problem with that being the case. We just need to have it disclosed on the record if it is.
There is no one over the age of 18 in the room.
Thank you. I'll also note that there is a limit to the number of times that a member may participate remotely for just cause, but we're well within that limit with respect to Supervisor Spear. So thank you, Supervisor Corza. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to roll call.
Thank you. We'll start with Supervisor Spear.
Here?
Thank you. Supervisor Mueller.
Here.
Thank you. Supervisor Gaucher.
Here.
Thank you. Supervisor Canepa.
Here.
Thank you. And then Vice President Corso.
Here.
Thank you. All present.
Okay, moving on to honoring the life of and board member remarks. Do any supervisors have comments or any remarks they'd like to share for honoring the life of?
I do, through the chair.
Thank you.
I
Please go
just
ahead.
want to bring up a birthday. Many of our residents in San Mateo County they're over 100. And this week, just yesterday, Annabelle Emery turned 101, celebrating her 101st birthday, which is amazing. So I want to just shout out happy birthday. But in addition to that, within this 2-week span, there's another young lady who just turned 103. And I believe it's next week, we have another young lady who will be 110. So we are going to bring pictures of these young, gentle souls so that we can share them and read their names into our record, but would love to figure out how we celebrate. If you've lived that long, how can the county celebrate the 100 birthdays? Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gaucher. Would anyone else like to make any remarks? Oh, I see Supervisor Spears' hand up. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. On this anniversary of the heinous attack on Israelis on October 7th, when some 1,200 of them had lost their lives and 251 were taken hostage, 48 of whom are still in Gaza under the control of Hamas. I would like us to take a moment and reflect on the lives lost. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I would like to say a few words as well. In addition to what Supervisor Spear already shared, I do also want to recognize the continuing tragedy happening in Gaza with the death of Palestinian men, women, and children that continues on a daily basis. I think, the situation for everyone impacted has been truly tragic, and I think there's a lot of people that continue to suffer, and I hope for a path towards peace and healing for everyone impacted. And with that, I would like to move on and acknowledge a member of our county family who will be leaving us soon. So many of you know that our beloved clerk of the board, Suki Pirewal, has given his notice to spend more time with his family at home. And I just wanted to take a moment to share, what a brightness and what a bright spot you bring to all of our meetings, Suki. Your unwavering calmness and professionalism has truly been a model for what civic engagement should look like. And a lot of us don't truly have a full understanding of what the work looks like behind the scenes to make sure that the public has all of the information on our agendas, that these meetings run smoothly, and that this is a safe place for everyone. You have been a cornerstone of our team here on this dais, and it's your quiet work that really has uplifted our meetings and helped us really serve the public as best we can. And I also want to note your ability to have an amazing sense of humor in the middle of some truly stressful times, and just your kindness and calmness. Suki and his family live pretty far away, and he drives very far to get here. And for that commitment, we thank you. I'm sure it's been difficult. It's a struggle that many people deal with, but I have always said I don't think you should have to work somewhere where I'm sorry. Let me start over. I don't think you should have to drive 3 hours to get to work. That's crazy. So I really am happy that your quality of life will improve. You'll get so much more of your time back. And we are very grateful for your many, many years of service. And wherever you land next, I know that they will be so lucky to have you. And we're really going to miss you, Suki. Now I'd like to see if anyone else would like to share remarks, or maybe County Executive Kaliki.
Thank you, Supervisor Corzo. It's certainly a bittersweet day for us here. I have known to, I've really become, how would I say this, enamored with what Suki has done here in the county. It has just been remarkable. I have worked with many clerks. Suki, you set a new standard. You brought this to a new level. You are a class act in everything you do. And I don't think people really understand all the work that goes on behind the scenes to put an agenda together. But throughout all the years we've worked together, you've never complained. You have just always smiled and got it done somehow. Your commute has been just absolutely horrendous. And I knew that this day would come someday. And I'm just so thankful that you hung in there for as long as you have. Again, you are going to be a very, very difficult position to fill because of the level and the standard that you have set here. And we're so grateful as a county for your service and what you've done for this board and what you've done for my office throughout all these years. You will be greatly, greatly missed, my friend. And I'm not sure we'll ever find anyone like you again.
Madam President, if I could just say a couple
Yes,
words.
please.
Thank you. Yeah, over the course of 24 years in the county, I've had a chance to work with a lot of clerks of the board, and all of them very good. Suki is just absolutely exceptional. We collaborate closely, of course, given our position and the things we do to sort of partner with the clerk to get the agenda ready for you all to consider. And I've just over the years been just so impressed by Suki's agility, his calmness under pressure, his tact, and his willingness to kind of roll with us as we're kind of rolling with you all as we pull things together. Sometimes at the last minute, and he makes it look really easy, and he makes it, and it's not, and he makes it look really smooth and well put together, and it is. And that's because of, again, the work that he and, of course, Sherry doing all that. His attention to detail is, I think, unmatched. And I think more importantly, from where I sit, he's just a wonderful person and a wonderful presence. Suki, we will deeply, deeply miss you, and we hope you'll stay in touch with us.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else, Supervisor Mueller?
Suki, I'm really going to miss you on a very personal level. It's been a wild ride, and you've always been an anchor of calmness and friendship. And I'm just really going to miss you very much personally and professionally. Thank you.
Supervisor Cochet?
Suki, stop crying because you're going to make me cry. Suki, I just appreciate you so much. You are a regional leader with poise and grace. I've worked with you since being on East Palo Alto City Council, and regionally, you're unmatched when it comes to that work. I don't know how you work and do county work, and you show up for everyone else in the region as well. You are definitely going to be missed. Our loss is someone else's gain. They better take care of you, because if not, we may have to buy Suki a house somewhere here in the county to make sure that you can continue to work. But truly, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your leadership. I will miss you, but I hope that we will stay in touch and you let me know where you land. Thank you.
Suki, would you like to say anything? Just put you on the spot real quick. You don't have to.
Actually,
You don't have to.
could I have an
Yes,
opportunity
of course.
as well?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up. Please go ahead, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you. Suki, the words that come to my mind when I think of you are unflappable, kind, respectful, professional, and exceedingly competent. You are the ultimate public servant, and we are indebted to you for providing such extraordinary leadership for so many years. But as I said to you in my email, family first. So Godspeed as you move on to the next chapter in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Spear. I see. I saw Sherry's hand up, and I know Ileana, the county assistant. There's your tag. I
Vice
can read it.
President Corzo.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't see your hand up either. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so
President
much,
Canepa.
Suki. I just really want to thank you for really being the moral compass of this county. I think you've always put people first, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's the Board of Supervisors, and most importantly, and make no mistake about it, the residents of San Mateo County. You've set the standard extraordinarily high. And I think at the end of the day, we all make decisions, and those decisions are really life-changing. And what I'm especially proud of, well, I don't agree with your decision to leave us. I do agree that your decision was putting your family first. And
Oh, President Canepa, you seem to have frozen. Let's come back to President Canepa. Okay. Assistant County Executive Rodriguez.
Thank you, Supervisor. I agree with everything that's been said, but folks forgot his humor. And he keeps us on our toes every day. His grace, and he's a character behind the scenes. And staff, we just love working with you, Suki. I'm going to miss you enormously, but keep in touch.
Thank you. And I saw Sherry's hand up as well.
Thank you, Supervisor. Suki, I don't know how to say this without crying, but over the last, 9 years, I just want to thank you for being the best person I could have had as a mentor here. You've really taught me everything that I have learned for being a clerk, and just as a great partner in this department and serving the public. And we've seen a lot of changes happening through the old building and moving into the new building and building the system. And I just really want to thank you for being just the best person to work with. You've been a great partner here. And as everyone has said, you have the best sense of humor, and wherever you end up, they're going to be lucky to have you. And I'm as heartbroken as I am to lose you here. I'm very happy that your family gets to have more time with you. So I just wish you the best, and I hope you stay in touch, Suki. Thank you for everything.
Okay, Suki, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, very quick, sir. Thank you very much for those kind words, supervisors and county executives team. I've been here for 11 years almost, been commuting for every day. So I think it's just time to give more personal time to the family. And I will miss all of you, and especially the public. I get to learn a lot from not just the supervisors, but also from the public as well. So nothing more to say, but just enjoy me. I will enjoy you guys until I have you until Thursday. So thank you for everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Suki. And I'll just end by saying that Suki really has the patience of a saint, because getting all of us in line and all of the items and every single agenda item that you see requires attachments, and he has to get them from everyone in the county and sometimes outside the county, and it's not an easy job. So thank you so much, Suki, for all of your years of service, and our county's loss will be someone else's gain, but most importantly, your family's gain. So, okay, moving on to public comment. Thank you all for your patience. We will now take public comments. This portion of the agenda is set aside for members of the public to comment on matters that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors, but that are not on the agenda for today's meeting, for matters listed on the consent agenda, and for matters that are set for closed session. Public comment will be limited to 1 minute, and I will hand it over to our clerk to start public comment for those here in chambers.
Thank you, Vice President. Just for the record, we do have Supervisor Canepa online now. So we'll have 4 speakers from chambers, and then we'll take speakers from Zoom. Brian Musante, and then followed by Johanna Rasmussen speaking on consent item number 22.
I'm assuming here, huh? Okay.
And please speak directly into the mic.
Yes. Good morning, honorable members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Brian Musante. I take no joy in being here today. It has been since January 12, 2018, or 67,000 hours, my rights have been denied by San Mateo County Planning Division, such as the bundle of rights. The parcels.
Could you speak into the mic, please? Right, into the mic. Yeah. Perfect.
Anybody hear me so far?
Yes, you're good.
Anybody hear me so far?
Yes, please go ahead. It's more for people on Zoom.
Do I gotta swallow this thing or what? All right. These parcels were unlawfully merged in 1979. It's crystal clear the parcels I'm talking about today, legally constructed in 1920s. These are undisputed facts. So I say that the San Mateo County Representatives, Recorder's Office, Senior Officer Lydia Latman, Senior Representative of Zoning and Maps Division, Anna Golden, and Chief Principal Tax Assessor James Bonin all agreed to 3 legal separate parcels since the 1920s. In March 25 of this year, I brought these 2 bundles to Representative District 3, Ray Mueller.
Sir, if you would please wrap up your comments.
To Ray's credit, I didn't get through a page and a half, and Ray stopped me and said, I've heard enough. I will be your advocate in this case. Can I have an extra minute?
I'm sorry, we really want to be fair to everyone.
A minute of wait, 67,000 hours. I can't have another minute.
I apologize, but it is important that we give everyone the same time.
Well, give them an
for
extra
the
minute
sake-
too.
for
You
the
guys
sake of the
spent a
meeting.
half
Madam
hour.
President, maybe I'd suggest that perhaps I can meet with this individual at some point. I'll set up some time to meet with him directly and talk
I
about the
would
situation.
love that, and I
Okay.
have something to say to the other representatives.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we're going to end your time now, but thank you for your patience, and we will look into the matter you're concerned with. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Johanna Rasmussen speaking on consent item number 22.
Good morning. I've sent a letter on consent item number 22 asking that it be pulled for its inaccuracies. But really the reason why I'm here in person today is to thank Suki. He's been clerking the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission meetings for just about 2 years. He does this after a full day here at the board, and sometimes that could be really late. So he's rushing to us after. He's always has a smile on his face. He's taught me so much. He's so patient. He's so kind. He's a true class act, and it's been an absolute privilege to work with you. So on behalf of the commission, we have something, a little gift for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Next speaker is Deacon Lauren McCombs, followed by Nancy Goodman.
So Suki, I just need to say this right away before I get to my public comment. I just have to say you have been a bright and shining face throughout the times that I have come before you. And with all that you have had to deal with, you have done as all of you have said. I'd like your attention, please. Thank you. Thank you. So that all that you have done for our county, and I appreciate your service. Good morning to all who are present here this morning. My name is Deacon Lauren Patton McCombs, and I'm currently serving at Christ Episcopal Church, Portola Valley and Woodside. I'm a member of Peninsula Solidarity Cohort and Fixing San Mateo. The past year has been a wild roller coaster of a ride concerning the sheriff and the various allegations of misconduct. Yesterday, Judge Emerson concluded that the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors has just cause to remove her from office. At this time, I would like to offer my thoughts and prayers for a smooth process so that we as a county can move forward to create trust, transparency, and accountability within the Sheriff's Office. Thank you for your serving, your dedication to promoting the health and well-being of every member of our community.
Thank you, Deacon. 4 more speakers, Nancy Goodman, followed by Bill Newell.
Hi, I'm Nancy Goodman. I live in Redwood City. And Suki, as just a member of the public, I want to thank you, and I'll really miss you. It's just so nice. We do public comment, and you're always right there. You're always responsive. You smile. You keep it all together. So I wanted to just comment on item 22 and just urge you to take seriously the civil grand jury's findings that we're wasting up to $18 million of taxpayer money on these youth facilities. Most importantly, because your Juvenile Justice Commission is your advisory group and is responsible for oversight, they need to be involved specifically in looking at the usage of Camp Kemp, and my understanding is they have not been. There are 3 obvious things that it could be used for, all greatly needed. One is a safe step-down location for people who are legally mandated to be in secure track. One is homeless services for transitioning homeless or foster youth or youth in service. And the third is inpatient substance abuse beds for youth. We have none. Thank you so much for considering that.
Thank you. Next speaker is Bill Newell, followed by Jennifer Blanco.
First of all, Sigmani, once again, thank you for your service.
Sure.
You've been the embodiment.
Please speak into the mic, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you for your service. You've been the embodiment of citizen participation. You've ensured for myself and so many of the rest of us to have a voice. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our community continues to remember the 7th anniversary of the life and the death of Chinadu Okobi. He was a father, son, brother, friend, poet, and San Mateo County resident whose life was tragically cut short by tasers at the hands of the San Mateo County Sheriff's deputies during the administration of Carlos Bolanos. A $5 million civil damagement payment was made to the family due to the death. Years later, again during Sheriff Bolanos' administration, a $7 million payment was made to Deputy Karen Barker for civil damages due to sexual harassment and abuse. Since 2022, San Mateo County has led a coalition of 26 diverse community organizations representing thousands of people of our county to pass an ordinance to create an independent inspector general with subpoena power and citizen oversight for the sheriff's office. Since then, there's been 7 deaths in the jail, broken elevators at the McGuire jail that have resulted in no family visitations for nearly 6 months. The time has come for Inspector General. The time is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newell. 2 more speakers from Chambers, Jennifer Blanco, followed by Hallie Crum.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors and county staff and everyone that's here on Zoom. Thank you, Assistant County Executive Rodriguez, for mentioning that Suki does have a sense of humor. So I have been attending Board of Supervisors since the days of the Honorable Rose Jacobs Gibson, the Honorable Mike Nevin, the Honorable Mark Church, and Rich Gordon. But so that's more than 11 years, I think, right, Suki? But let me tell you, I don't even remember who the person had your position before, because that person did not even amount to who the type of person that you are. But I want to say thank you so much for being the constant here at the county. I've had the pleasure of working with Suki. I'm on my 2nd year as a Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commissioner. But Suki, you always bring a smile to our faces. I know you brought plenty of smiles to mine, and I'm so proud of you for making a decision, because your children do need you, even more so now in the type of days that our country finds ourselves in. But
if you could
good luck,
wrap
and
up.
thank you so much for serving the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blanco. Our last speaker is Hallie Crum, and then we'll take speakers from Zoom.
Good morning. How you guys doing today? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Of course, I'm here because the last meeting there was the urgent situation and it's still in effect. But integrity means a lot in the community, and I have a lot of integrity. So, um, I spoke with my district supervisor, Lisa, and she said, "Hey, what about sovereignty, Hallie?" I called, well, in church, I'm a rudder, and a rudder turns a ship. And you guys, if I tell you that was a battleship, I didn't realize that the tank was coming from the services for the VA, but we were enabled. Retrain the Village was enabled to house 30 veterans in 8 months permanently. One recidivism. I love this county. I love it. Like I said, I was that little baby with AD. And I love you all. All I'm asking for today is an answer so that I'll know which way to go. If I have to put a loan on my house, that's what I'm going to do. Because it's about people and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No additional speakers from chamber, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Thank you. We have 5 hands raised in Zoom, and as a reminder, public comment is for the consent agenda beginning at items 9 through the end at closed session, including item 32 and any unagendized county-related matters. Dan Stejing, followed by Martin Fox. Dan, please unmute and begin.
Thank you, supervisors. Legally, the public should have been allowed a minute to comment on Suki's retirement. He's one of the good ones. I hit 15 counties regularly. Ileana Rodriguez had it best. His sense of humor is unmatched. Good luck, and I hope you promote Sherry to that position. I'd like to thank former Congresswoman Jackie Spear for her attention to budget deficits. The county stated they have a $6 million deficit this fiscal year, but I count at least $64.1 million deficits. All departmental spending should be capped at $200,000. All purchase contracts from current or past 5 years employees who own companies with less than employees should be capped at $10,000. All purchase contracts and rentals with political donors should be capped. The largest political donor on the coast currently receives almost $40 million in contracts from the county, including satellite rental office and Project Home Key purchases. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. We'll now go to Martin Fox, followed by Andrew Bachman. Martin, please unmute and begin.
Suki, thank you for your service to the county for these 11 years and bringing your joyful performance of service to San Mateo County. Good morning, President Canepa, my fellow veteran county attorney, Mr. Niblin, Supervisor Spear, Supervisor Corzo, Supervisor Mueller, Supervisor Gauthier, and County Executive, Mr. Callagay. Thank you for your service to the county, and please make the county safer and healthier for persons living with serious mental illness and their families by making the reintroduction and passage of the repeal of the Lanterman-Peters Short Act a top county state legislative priority. Make the immediate implementation of Senate Bill 43's treatment enhancements a top county health department priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Andrew Boston, followed by X. Andrew, please unmute and begin.
Suki, appreciate all you've done for the county. Good morning, supervisors. It's Andrew Boston again from Save Seal Cove. 2 weeks ago, I warned that leaking water and sewer lines in Seal Cove were making our landslide worse. Since then, we've had another sewage spill. It's stumped 4 plumbers, has run for 12 days, and sits right next to the Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. Meanwhile, the Sewer Authority Midcoast, the only agency trained to fix it, has been told to stand down because Montara Water and Sanitary District won't reimburse them. The pattern is obvious: repeated leaks, no stormwater plan, and no coordination between agencies. Every landslide-prone community in California knows the fix: keep groundwater down and runoff out, and yet we're still doing the opposite. We could really benefit from the county leadership to bring these agencies together and make a plan, because right now the only thing spreading faster than the leaks is the finger pointing. And I hope I don't have to zoom in next time from a kayak. Thank you all.
Thank you, Andrew. X followed by In Our Care SMC. X, please unmute and begin.
I want to thank Jackie Spears for remembering what today is, October 7th, the day Hamas brutally invaded Israel, murdering, raping, and torturing innocent men, women, children, and babies simply because they were Jews or associated with Israel. It's important that we never lose sight of what this day represents. Not politics, not a debate over policy, but a clear act of evil. And while some feel the need, like Supervisor Corzo, to qualify the remarks by appeasing socialist constituents and adding that Gazans are suffering today, that's not what today is about. It was a vile display by her to bring that up today on October 7th. October 7th belongs to the victims of Hamas's brutality. It belongs to the women and children who were slaughtered and the hostages still held in Gaza. Thank you, Jackie Spears, for having the courage to remember and speak truthfully about what happened. We must never forget. And that goes for you too, Ms. Corzo. You should watch the video that Israel put together of brutality that happened on this day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. In Our Care SMC followed by Lana Witt. In Our Care, please unmute and begin.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors and County Executive and Community. I'm Rebecca Keeler. I'm co-founder of In Our Care San Mateo County, and I'm speaking on consent agenda item number 22. I want to urge the board to work with our Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Commission on issues of repurposing or reimagining San Mateo County valuable youth services facility. Camp Kemp is a beautiful facility that's been sitting idle since October 23rd, which is a waste of taxpayer money as well as wasting valuable county property that could be utilized for much needed repurposing. We have an incredible commission under your supervision board with the Juvenile Justice Commission. This is their expertise. Please utilize them to repurpose these properties and better service our youth. Thank you. And I also want to say, lastly, thank you, Suki. You are the best. I wish you the best on your new venture. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Vice President, would you like me to make a final call for raised hands at this time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Members of the public, please raise your hand for final call, public comment at this time. Okay, no further hands will be taken. The last two speakers are Lana Witt and Paul Bocanegra. Lana, please unmute and begin.
Good morning. I'm also a resident of Seal Cove in Moss Beach. I'm reiterating about the sewer leak that the previous speaker mentioned. I want to say that Supervisor Ray Mueller and his co-site office staff, Michael Neal, immediately stepped in after I notified them. They provided instructions to the property owner, and I'm speaking of to say this public acknowledgement and thank you to them. But we homeowners need written guidance on steps to take when private companies are not able to diagnose or repair. Neither SAM or MWSD is fulfilling that responsibility. So I would ask the board to apply pressure to MWSD to notify which property owners are no longer serviced, to give us guidance on what to do with a sewer leak, and request that MWSD provide minutes of their discussion, excluding Seal Cove owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Lana. Our last speaker, Paul Bocanegra, please unmute and begin.
Good morning, our honorable Board of Supervisors and County Executive, Mike Callagy. I'm driving right now with my mother-in-law who's 90 years old, so excuse me that I couldn't be there in person. First, I'd like to say thank you to Suki for your service to our community. You are definitely the definition of professionalism, and we will miss your smile and the work that you do to keep us on board. Second, I'd like to speak on agenda item 22. I believe that I am the only person that is listening right now that has expert and firsthand experience of what it's like when a juvenile is introduced to adult entrenched criminal thinking. I believe that what we have here is a lot of money being invested in items that we are missing, a step down and transitional. Thank you so much, and I would like for you to shelve or pull back item 22 so we can address that later in a collaborated effort. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Paul. No further comments, Madam Vice President.
Thank you so much. We will now, I want to thank everyone for sharing their comments, and we will now move on to take action to set the agenda and to approve the consent agenda. I understand that we have a request from Supervisor Spear to move item 28 from consent to the regular agenda, and we will accommodate that request. Are there any other requested changes to the agenda? Okay, I don't actually see President Canepa, so I'm not sure. Oh, there you are. Any other requests? No? Okay. I will now, actually, I'd like to also request that item number 1 be amended to read October 13th. We had a typo in the date, unfortunately. And assuming there's no other changes, I would be happy to take a motion to set the agenda and approve the consent agenda.
Okay, with the changes mentioned.
With the changes mentioned, yes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
And Supervisor Canepa?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. We will now begin our formal agenda with presentations and awards. There are 2 of these items today. The first is item 1, which is a presentation of a proclamation designating October 13th, 2025 as Indigenous Peoples Day, and I am sponsoring this item. And so I would like to share briefly that Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations. And for the past 4 years, this day has been recognized nationally by our U.S. President, although I don't know if that's currently happening. In April 2025, our current president, now I will know. Our current president stated that he would not recognize Indigenous Peoples Day this year. And that is why it's more important than ever for us to resist the erasure of history by celebrating it locally. Indigenous Peoples Day honors the histories, languages, cultures, and gifts that Indigenous peoples have kept alive even in the face of violence and genocide. It also honors the way in which all of us, no matter what our backgrounds, benefit from the richness of our Indigenous neighbors and Native communities. It's only been in my adult years that I've personally reconnected with my Indigenous Guatemalan roots, Mayan roots, and the importance of holding that thread from my ancestors and passing it on to my son. And this has been deeply healing for me personally, and I do think that for many Indigenous cultures, the way in which there's a connection to the land and in not taking more than you need, not taking advantage of your neighbors, really living in community and in peace, is something that needs to be recognized as a really important path forward in our future. And with that, I also want to recognize that the County Youth Commission in 2020 actually recommended to this Board of Supervisors that we recognize Indigenous Peoples Day. And so I also want to commend our youth from that time for leading and for leading us in uplifting that. And I think we very much have to continue to take a moment to acknowledge our Native people and celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And with that, I'd like to welcome Gloria Gutierrez, Silvia Salcedo, Tia Bell, and Diana Gomez from the County Native and Indigenous Peoples Initiative to share their remarks. And we also have some PowerPoint slides here. Welcome.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today on this beautiful day. I would like to thank President Canepa, Vice President Noelia Corzo, the rest of the board members, County Executive Mr. Callaghy, Mr. Niblin, and Ilana Rodriguez. And Suki, this is our second year being here with you, and I just want to thank you for being here and making this less anxiety-producing as it sees. I would just like to say, my name is Gloria Gutierrez. I am a Yaqui from the Pasco Yaqui tribe of Tucson, Arizona. However, I am a San Mateo County resident, and I'm honored to be here today. And we are also here with San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. We are one of the health equity initiatives through the Office of Diversity and Equity. And today, we are very grateful to be here today. However, we would like to pause and extend extreme gratitude to Supervisor Noelia Corzo for her support with this proclamation. This is the second year that she has done this for us, and we are extremely, extremely humbled and grateful to you. And so I am going to move it forward, and Sylvia here today is going to move us into a land acknowledgement. Thank you for your time and sharing space with us today.
O Mateo, Tiwantala, Sokamati, Intlok, Inawake. We say this in a place of gratitude and recognizing our ancestors in our original language. We acknowledge this land that we are on, this land of the Alonis, of the villages of the Ramatush, of the villages of the Moekma, and other Aloni people who have been here in this unceded land. So in that way, we acknowledge the land that we're on, and we're always saying we haven't gone anywhere. You know, we're still here with our culture, with our ways, and Tlaso Kamati, thank you to all of your corazones, everybody here, and in a good way we say Tlaso Kamati, which means from our mouth, we say, in our heart, we say thank you. Ometeot.
I'll speak to, go to the last one, the previous one. Yeah. The Native and Indigenous Peoples Initiative is a health equity initiative within the Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, the health department. We really are inspired to revitalize the Native and Indigenous communities' representation in San Mateo County. We work towards reducing the stigma and expanding access to services, really working at focusing on the current health disparities so that they are at some point non-existent, with higher rates in this community, in our community, of depression and anxiety and suicide and substance-related deaths. That is part of the effort, and we work towards that with a commitment to community by working with and collaboratively with different community resources, and working collaboratively with the different departments of public health and alcohol and other drug services.
Hello, I'm here to chat with you a little bit about what Indigenous Peoples Day is. And it's really a day that honors and celebrates the history, the culture, and contributions of Indigenous peoples. And while also acknowledging that they are, oh, excuse me, a little close there, honors Indigenous peoples as the original stewards of the lands, and acknowledges the historical truths about colonialization and its everlasting impacts, while also promoting equity visibility, and uplifting Indigenous voices, cultures, and contributions today. So we thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity, for uplifting such an important day, and for hearing us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I will say something very brief before we take public comment on this item. Also, just want to give a shout out to our Parks Department for really respecting traditional Indigenous practices and embracing that, and making an effort to put up more, I forget what they're called, but like info boards up at sites to share history that had been previously erased. And you know, you mentioned colonization, and one of the things that I've learned that very much did happen here in San Mateo County is that, you know, a lot of our forest was logged back in, I'm not good with dates, but back in the day, right? And then what happened was that a lot of, you know, many trees like grew back, but in order to restore the harm that was done by all of the trees being logged, you actually have to take some of the trees out so that they grow big and strong and have enough nutrients, and also it's just going back to I'm forgetting the term right now, but the intentional and safe fires, that controlled fires, controlled burns. That is an Indigenous practice, and it is one that we are now using here in this county to prevent wildfires. And so I just wanted to add that. Take it away, Suki.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I don't have any speaker slips from chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed for item number 1.
Public comment now open on Zoom for item 1. Please raise your hand to comment. No hands raised. Back to you, Vice Chair. Oh, actually, we do have one hand raised. Let's see, for Dan Stejink. Dan, please unmute and begin.
Thank you very much, Supervisors. The Pacifica Quarry is one of the oldest Native American villages in Northern California. The Gomez name represented here appears in birth records several places. The Pacifica Quarry was a Native American village for 13,000 years, and to this day, kids still find arrowheads there every day when in December when the city floods. The National Park Service recognizes natives were enslaved by the Spanish to mine limestone for both the Spanish Presidio and Mission Dolores. Mission Dolores states they have 5,000 native remains that can be DNA tested that were sourced on the coast. The Dutch West India Company brought slaves from Africa to New York in 1651, but they also transported indigenous slaves from California to Europe all the way through 1812, and they were documented doing so by the Quaker Church in the late 1700s. Thank you very much.
You did. Back to you, Vice Chair.
Okay. With that, I would like to motion to proclaim October. Oh, yes, please. Sorry.
Thank you for bringing this forward. It is so important. Do you have recommendations for what we can do to honor the day? Are there events planned on Monday? What is happening?
Oh, yes, I do. So right now we have been informed that Alcatraz is actually happening. There is a morning sunrise ceremony. It has not been, there has been some cuts. However, they are working. They're partnering with the International Indian Treaty Council, and the sunrise ceremony is still going on. There's going to have some vendors. I do know that's happening in San Francisco. Unfortunately, in San Mateo County, I'm not too aware. But I will have to say, though, I just have to give a little shout out for Pacifica, because that is so true. On Maury's Point, there's a big sign that tells you all about the Ohlone heritage on there. And so just wanted to just say that as Pacifica resident. Thank you.
Thank you. No wonder that's one of my favorite places.
Maury's Point, best place.
Yes. Okay, I'd love to take a second. Thank you.
I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
And Supervisor Canepa?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now I will present you with this beautiful proclamation.
Okay, all right. One. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we are now moving on to item 2, which is to approve a proclamation designating October 2025 as Disabilities Awareness Month. And we will also accept the annual report of the Commission of Disabilities. Supervisor Gaucher, could I please hand over the mic to you to share a few words?
Thank you so much. October is Disability Awareness Month. In the United States, more than 41 million people live with disabilities, including over 67,000 San Mateo residents. 2025 marks 35 years since the Americans with Disability Act, a landmark civil rights law, and the 80th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. The San Mateo County Commission on Disability advises the board, bringing perspectives across development, physical, mental, and sensory disabilities, and is guided by its 2025 motto, create, educate, advocate, and celebrate. The commission is featuring the 2025 Disabilities Art Show, October 1st through the 31st at the Center of Creativity in downtown Redwood City, highlighting local artists with disabilities and stories of inclusion, and we encourage everyone to stop by this art show. Last month, I also had the opportunity to attend Ability Path's Creative Spotlight, a collaboration designated to uplift and celebrate the value of neurodiversity in art. Early this year, the commission recommended that we equip staff with practical tools for respectful dialogue. My office will be purchasing 100 copies of Demystifying Disabilities, What to Know, What to Say, and How to Be an Ally for use across county departments. We are working with Bray Hunter, ADA Title I coordinator, to roll out this brief team briefing, leadership forum, and integration with existing ADA training. I want to share something I learned from the book. Do not assume language. Ask people what terms they prefer. Many use identity-first language like disabled persons. Others prefer first language like persons with disability. Avoid euphemisms. Say wheelchair user rather than wheelchair bound, and non-disabled rather than able body. With this, I invite county teams to host a short discussion using demystifying disability this fall and to visit the art showcase this month. Employees and residents who encounter access barriers can contact the ADA Title II Office of Commissions on Disabilities. Your feedback helps remove obstacles faster. A closing reminder from the author, disability is the only identity any one of us can take on anytime, meaning that anything can happen that could lead us to being disabled. Building across access today serves our neighbors now and our future selves. Joining us today is Commission on Disabilities President Florence Wong, who will share a brief report on this year's work.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Gaucher, and thank you so much for investing in demystifying disability. I'm so happy and thankful. Good morning, Vice President Corzo, Board of Supervisors, Mr. Calagi, Mr. Niblin, Ms. Rodriguez, county staff. My name's Florence Wong. I'm the president of the Commission on Disabilities, and I'm the mother of a 22-year-old daughter with developmental and medical disabilities. I'm honored today to give you our annual update on the Commission on Disabilities. What is the Commission? We were established in 1991. We were the combination of the Disabilities Task Force and the Coordinating Council on Developmental Disabilities combined into one. And Supervisor Gaucher shared our motto, create, educate, advocate, and celebrate. We have 15 members on our commission, and we currently have 2 vacancies. So if there's anyone out there who feels they would like to serve on the Commission on Disabilities, please look on the county's website to look into applying. We have our general meetings every month in the beautiful Manzanita Hall in this building. We have committees, our executive committee, our advocacy outreach and legislation committee, ADA compliance committee, which actually is comprised of a lot of county staff in there. Our accessible transportation committee, which includes representatives from Samtrans. Our special events committee organizes the Inclusion Festival, which we did at County Center this year for the first time, and also organizes the Disabilities Arts Showcase. Our Youth and Family Commission or committee helps plan the transition to Independence Fair along with our high school districts in the county. Our purpose is to advise the Board of Supervisors on disability-related issues. We educate residents of the county on the needs of people with disabilities. We create leadership opportunities for people with disabilities. We advocate for people with disabilities on system-wide issues, particularly on issues of safety. We have focused on emergency preparedness and also abuse prevention, and improving resources for victims who have disabilities who are victims of abuse. And we have collaborated with other agencies and organizations to mutually benefit the disabled community. I thought I'd share with you the speakers that we've had in our general meetings. These are all open meetings. The public can come. You can even Zoom in and hear some really interesting information and helpful information about resources in the county. We had presentations from the Ombudsman Services of San Mateo County. We had a presentation on housing modification programs, speakers from Habitat for Humanity Greater San Francisco and Rebuilding Together had really good information. So if that's something people need in their homes, please reach out to those organizations. We had a panel on paratransit services, and we had speakers from Samtrans, Accessible Transit Services, Peninsula Family Services Got Wheels program, and Uber in their WAVE program. Red Cross came in and taught us hands-only CPR with the mannequins and all that stuff, and it was very helpful. It's something I think everybody should learn. We had 2 professors from UC Berkeley's Disability Studies minor program talk about their program and some of the studies that they've done, and that was very interesting. Red Cross came back and gave us their Be Red Cross Ready presentation, which focused on emergency evacuation recommendations for people with disabilities. The San Mateo County Transportation Authority came in to talk about their 101 Corridor Connect program, or their plan. We had speakers talk about disability etiquette, and our last speaker was Bray Hunter, our San Mateo County Title II ADA coordinator, to talk about what she does in her role. Our accomplishments since the last time I was in front of this board. We hosted the Disabilities Art Showcase last year in the Hall of Justice, and this year, like Supervisor Gaucher said, is at the Center for Creativity. When we write letters of to recommend something, we direct it to our board liaison, who's now Supervisor Gaucher, with CCs to everybody on the board. We wrote a letter supporting the quiet room in this building, and we recommend quiet rooms in all county buildings to help people who need some sensory relief. We supported the capital improvements projects by assessing and recommending barrier removal initiatives across San Mateo County, and this includes projects such as the North Fair Oaks Library and the El Granada Barrier Removal Project. We held a virtual town hall to assess emergency needs of disabled residents, and we shared this information with the Department of Emergency Management. We wrote a letter supporting the continued financial support for the Community Wellness and Crisis Response Team program and recommended making it countywide. We updated our bylaws and created governance and tabling calendars to make ourselves a better commission. We wrote a letter recommending demystifying disability by Emily Ladow for county staff, and thank you to Supervisor Gaucher for supporting that. We hosted the 6th Annual Inclusion Festival at the County Center, which was the first time we did that, and it was very successful. We've collaborated with the Office of Arts and Culture on our showcase, with the Department of Emergency Management through tabling and through sitting on the EOP update meetings. We've networked with the Youth Commission. We have a representative on the Survivor Safe team through the Victim Services Division of the DA's office. We sat in on a meeting with Waymo that the county had with Waymo to learn about their disability-related features and gave them some feedback. And we also sit on the committee that is looking at loneliness, tackling loneliness among seniors and adults with disabilities in this county through the Aging Disability Services Community Enrichment Advisory Committee. And recently we presented to the Commission on Aging to talk about what our commission is. Our upcoming projects, like was announced, we have our Disabilities Art Showcase, and I want to invite everyone to come to the reception that is on Saturday the 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. We'll be having refreshments and some live music, and you'll get to see all the wonderful art that our disabled artists have provided for you to look at. We also have a workshop on the 25th that is for people with disabilities to take an art lesson from a local artist, and that is on the 25th, 1 to 3 p.m. You need to sign up for that because there are limited spots. Right now we're working on a cooling center survey through our Advocacy Outreach and Legislation Committee. We're working on our Transition to Independence Fair, the Inclusion Festival that will be next year, and we'll continue advising on the capital improvement project sites. And our Accessible Transportation Committee is working on a resource guide on accessible transportation in the county. We have a lot of celebrations. We were so happy that commissioners with approved ADA accommodations can attend and vote virtually. During the pandemic, when we were allowed to meet virtually, we had nearly 100% participation on our commission almost every meeting, and that never happened, never. So the fact that we can now do this again has also made it much more likely that we reach quorum, and that even better, everybody can attend. We're so thrilled that Aging and Adult Services has moved on to change their name to Aging and Disability Services, reflecting who they serve more accurately. And in 2 weeks in July, thank you to this board for approving flying the Disability Pride flag at County Center. That was the first time. And we love Manzanita Hall. It's a beautiful hall that we have our general meetings in. And we were happy that paratransit has a designated spot at County Center now to drop off people who use Ready Wheels. That was initiated because one of our new commissioners got completely lost because her paratransit driver had no idea where to drop her off and just dropped her off somewhere, and she had to make her way to the meeting room, and it was very unpleasant. So we're so happy that Samtrans and the city of Redwood City was able to get that designation. Special shout outs, Supervisor Lisa Gaucher, thank you so much for your support coming to our events. We really appreciate it so much. Your aide, Connie Franco, is fantastic. She's really responsive and very proactive, and, what do you need? It's wonderful. Thank you to the Aging and Disability Services staff, Director Lee Pullen, Sean O'Connell, Anna Sawamura, and Andrew Eng. Special shout out to Department of Public Works for the Inclusion Festival help. The setting up and taking down of the tents and tables was so helpful. We cannot thank you enough, Public Works. Thank you to the whole Board of Supervisors and the County Executive. And this is my favorite slide here. Here we're in the center at the Inclusion Festival in our fantastic shirts. First time we've had our shirts too, so that we look like a unified group. Up in the top is the Ready Wheels drop-off site, and then photos from the tabling day and last year's Disabilities Arts Showcase. So thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to continuing our work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Any comments or remarks from board members? Okay, not seeing any hands. Supervisor Mueller?
I just wanted to thank you all, the commissioners, for your work. It's incredibly important. So thank you.
Thank you. And I will also add that I'm really excited to see the energy and the progress that Supervisor Gaucher and the commission have made together, and through the help of Connie. I worked with folks in the disabled community for 5 years as a social worker of Golden Gate Regional Center, and so it's something that's very near and dear to my heart, but we can't all do everything, so it's great to see just the progress that's been made. And I want to add as well that one of the things that I love most about this specific community is the what's the word? The empathy for other people, and for other people learning, right? Learning new terms, learning about how something that specifically benefits your community actually benefits everyone, whether they realize it or not. And that phrase, nothing, what is it? Nothing for us without us, is one that is also very near and dear to my heart. So I'll pass it over to Supervisor Gaucher for, I believe, a motion. Oh, sorry. Public comment. That's right.
Thank you, Vice President Corzo. I do have one speaker from Chambers, Lee Pullen.
Good morning, honorable board members and county executive's office. I just wanted to continue the thank yous that Commissioner Wong had started. I really appreciate your support of the work we do with this commission. It helps us as an aging and disability office to carry out our mission. You saw all those accomplishments, and I want to acknowledge Chair Wong and all the commissioners. They're doing all of this for free. They're volunteering their time because they're committed to improving the lives here in San Mateo County. And indeed, a special thank you to Supervisor Gaucher, not only for your personal involvement, but yes, we all love working with your office. So you've got great staff, and we appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please proceed with the Zoom comments.
Thank you. Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment for item number 2 for Disabilities Awareness Month. No hands raised. Back to you, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'll hand it over to Supervisor Gaucher, or I'll take a motion.
No, I want to say, I think what I want to remind people is nothing about us without us. So when you're doing things, keep everyone in mind when we're planning. So I would like to make a motion that we approve a proclamation designating October 2025 as Disabilities Awareness Month, and accept the annual report of the Commission on Disabilities for 2025.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you. I'll take the roll
And-
call.
Yes.
Yeah. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
And Supervisor Canepa?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Give her your phone. I can do this. We have to scooch in just a little bit more. There we go. Wonderful. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hi. Glad you made it.
Okay, we are now moving on with our agenda, and we are moving on to the regular agenda. There are 7 items on the regular agenda, and since we moved item 28 from consent to regular, we will start with item 3, which is to accept the 2024 San Mateo County Agriculture Crop Report prepared by the Agricultural Commissioner. Commissioner Waddell, would you please introduce this item as well as any speakers we will have today?
All right. Good morning, Vice President Corzo, honorable board members, Mr. Callaghy, Mr. Niblin. I am Corin Whittle, the Agricultural Commissioner and Sealer of Weights and Measures for San Mateo County, and it's my honor to present to you today the 2024 Agricultural Crop Report. Providing statistical description of county agricultural production in an annual crop report is one of the functions of the California County Agricultural Commissioners. Crop data is used by growers and ranchers, agricultural suppliers, farm labor offices, and other government agencies. Before I switch slides, I would like to point out the beautiful artwork on our cover. This is titled Move Over. It was created by Soleil Louis, who was a sophomore at Mercy High School last year when this piece was created for the As Fresh as It Get art contest. In coordination with San Mateo County Farm Bureau and the San Mateo County Art Commission, our department hosted the cover art contest for the county's middle school and high school students to develop greater appreciation of agriculture through the creation of art pieces. The top 3 artists were awarded prize money for their entries. And so second prize, you can see there in the middle, is titled A Farmer's Fresh Harvest, created by a 9th grader, Krisha Gupta. And third prize went to The Paradise of Agriculture, submitted by 11th grader, Sathini Senthi Kumar. Other honorable mentions are highlighted throughout the report. We had over 60 submissions for this contest. And to all the artists that submitted projects, we truly appreciate your participation in this contest and the inspiration it gave us in compiling this report. For 2024, the gross value of agricultural production in San Mateo County was $106,488,000. This is a 7.6 increase from 2023. This is a gross value and does not include the cost of production. To put this number into perspective, in 2023, San Mateo County was ranked 39th of 58 counties in California's $67 billion agricultural industry. We moved up 2 spots, and so showing some recovery from our low in 2022. The table on page 3 of the crop report shows the total value of 7 major commodity groups. Our largest commodity group is the floral and nursery crops at $60 million, while vegetables and fruit and nut crops remain stable this year. Floral and nursery crops makes up over half of San Mateo County's production value, or $60 million, and it's split into both indoor and outdoor grown. Indoor or greenhouse grown category is almost $46 million. That's 43% of our total production value, and remains our #1 commodity group. Typically, indoor potted plants are high-value plants such as orchids, decorative pines, or tropical houseplants that you see sold in the floral departments of supermarkets. As has been the trend, we see our locally grown, high-quality indoor cut flowers continue to shrink in acreage and value as San Mateo County cut flowers growers can no longer compete with foreign imports. The indoor cut flower production shrunk by 71% in 1 year. Greenhouse production space in San Mateo County has given way to production of vegetables, mushrooms, and even retail space. Outdoor grown floral and nursery crops makes up 14% of our total production, and this category includes ornamental nursery stock, such as those that are planted in your landscape, cut flowers such as dahlias, hydrangeas, sunflowers, and even Christmas trees. Outdoor grown cut flowers tend to be sold more locally at our farmers markets. The vegetable crop category remains stable in 2024. While acreage and production is down slightly, prices of commodities were up, stabilizing in this category. Brussels sprouts, which makes up the majority of our commodities named in the vegetable category, is stable from last year after decreasing acreage and production value for the past 5 years. Leeks saw the largest increase in value of all the commodities. When a commodity only has a few growers, it is reported as an aggregate group in the miscellaneous category to protect the confidentiality of the growers. The miscellaneous vegetable category includes commodities such as field and indoor grown herbs, kale, lettuce, and mushrooms. The fruit and nut acreage remained firm in 2024, as is typical of fruit and nut crops. While the production value for the category gained by 4.5%, miscellaneous category, which includes apples, berries, chestnuts, and stone fruits, swelled by 22%. The livestock category is the standout of the 2024 crop report, boasting a 38% increase over last year. This growth is driven both by higher market prices and the greater number of heads sold in cattle, hogs, and chickens. There are many factors that play into why the number of heads sold may be higher in a non-drought year, including the availability of land to graze. Livestock products in apiary, while not a large amount, did see a decrease of 23%. Field crops saw a healthy 9.6% boost and through the expansion of acreage in dry beans. We rely on the California Department of Tax and Administration for our forest product numbers. The timber harvest fluctuates noticeably from year to year because of a variety of factors, including environmental conditions and regulations and the construction demand. This year, the total value of forest products is down, but the price per board foot is up. The total production values just given to you include both conventional and organic production. The graph here specifically is looking at organically grown commodities in San Mateo County. Organic farms must be registered with the California Department of Food and Agriculture, and we currently have 20 registered producers, one less than last year. The chart shows 7 years of production with gross value in orange and acres in blue. Compared to 2023, while acres in organic production went down slightly, the total value of organic production went up by 11%. It is important to note that these values are from a combination of CDFA's registration, which are estimations, and reported values when possible. In our report, we also include rainfall for Half Moon Bay for the water year, which runs from October 2023 to September 2024. For Half Moon Bay, the area was up by 25% compared to the 20-year average, and there were no significant storms or adverse weather conditions during this period, leading to a stable and predictable growing season. In the report, we provide some historical perspective, starting from back in 1940 when we started to put together the crop report, and all crop reports can be found on our website. The top graph shows San Mateo County agricultural production in each decade starting in 1944. In early years of the crop report, dairy played a significant role in total production value. But as it waned, the floral and nursery stock sector started to gain market share in the 70s and peaked in the 90s. The graph shown at the bottom is from 2014 through 2024, with highs in 2014 of 152 million and in 2018 for 148 million. There was a significant adjustment in 2019 and 2020 when we had the loss of Bay City Flowers, a wholesale nursery of indoor-grown decorative flowering plants. The values in this chart have not been adjusted for inflation, but we know that agricultural production has decreased by the number of acres in production. When we compare total acres in production over a 10-year period, we do see a 20% drop. Included in this report is the Sustainable Agricultural Report. Sustainable agriculture uses farming practices that conserve resources and plant health and ensures economic vitality of the farm. Pest prevention services carried out by the department provide safeguards to maintain crop health and the environment in San Mateo County and throughout the state. Pest exclusion inspections of incoming agricultural shipments is our first line of defense against invasive species. Inspections are conducted at parcel facilities such as UPS and FedEx and SFO and other wholesale nurseries. Detrimental species intercepted this year include Caribbean fruit fly on 3 different shipments, tropical fire ant, big-headed ant, and pink hibiscus mealybug. Also included in the information in this report is the As Fresh as It Gets. This is the San Mateo County Grown Agricultural Promotion Program. It was started in 2006 and in partnership with the Agricultural Commissioner's Office, Farm Bureau, and San Francisco Peninsula. It connects residents and visitors to San Mateo County farms and fishermen and restaurants that utilize the seal. Keep an eye out for the logo when visiting local farmers markets, restaurants, and farm stands. And I would like to leave you with this and thank all the producers that supplied their production information for the report. This report is not possible without their contributions. And I also want to thank Michael Wong on my staff for his diligent work on the report and his commitment to the art contest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner, for that report. And I'm going to open it up for board member questions and remarks. And Supervisor Mueller, please go ahead.
Thank you. And first, Corin, what you didn't talk about, what I want to thank you for, is the wonderful work that your office does around integrated pest management. So it's
Thank
really
you.
appreciated. There's been some issues that popped up this year. You guys responded well. I was at the Farm Bureau meeting last night. Issue came up. We could say that county's on it. So I really want to thank you for that. I also want to share with my colleagues, I'm really excited by this report. This is the second year in a row that we've seen an increase in production when you look at the dollar amount. We're up 15% over 2022. And what I want to share with my colleagues is a wonderful thing. Karen, you mentioned about the fact that we saw a big decline when Bay City folded.
Mm-hmm.
This year, and Karen and I both spent a lot of time meeting with the new owner. Bay City was purchased. We spent a lot of time meeting with that new owner before he purchased it, and it's going to be used for an ag use. And so that coming online is a very big deal for agriculture on the coast. It's a very big property, and to get it in production again is going to mean a lot to agriculture. And to my colleagues on the board, it also is an incredible opportunity for the county, because the new owner is willing to set aside a part of that property to build a distribution center, which is so important for our coast side. And so he wants to partner with the county and other stakeholders to do that, set that aside. And we just had a discussion last night about how important it is that a distribution center be able to clean and cut, which is a big issue for a lot of our agricultural producers in order to be able to get them into distribution. The other thing that I want to share with my colleagues, which will be coming forward later this year on, is that we're putting together a pilot with County Health to start purchasing directly from the coast. We've had multiple meetings with County Health on this issue, and they are working with our distributors right now to figure out how currently they can go ahead and take in what's being produced on the coast and clean it and cut it in the interim time period so it can be used here in the County Health. So we can go ahead and start creating demand actually from here within the county to go ahead and provide those being serviced by the county with farm fresh foods. They are also creating a list presently of the demand of what we need. And we talked about it last night with the Farm Bureau, that we can provide that information to farmers on the coast so that they can go ahead and actually change their crops to go ahead and respond to that. And so all of that is in place. The future is looking really bright. And I just want to speak to our agricultural producers and our ranchers on the coast for their resiliency. They've been through some tough times. They've responded. They're working really hard to make it work. Our organic producers are working really hard to make it work. And just incredibly excited that we on the direction that we're all headed together. And Corinne, your office has been a major part of that, and the work that you do with those producers every day is so well appreciated. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Supervisor Mueller. Thank you. And I see Supervisor Spears' hand up.
Thank you, Vice President. Commissioner Waddell, those posters or artistic renderings are really stunning. So congratulations to you and all the students. I'm just incredibly impressed. My question, though, is about what's happening, and if you're aware of this, that all of the crops that are being offered on weekends at the various locations around the county, it appears that there's some regulatory activity going on so that it's making it more difficult for farmers to sell their produce at these weekly fairs. Are you familiar with that issue?
I'm not. Our office does do certified farmers markets, and we issue certified producers certificates for those markets to our local farmers, and that allows them to legally sell the produce at the certified farmers markets. But I'm not sure. Is there another?
Yeah, evidently there is some issue with the regulatory requirements that we in the county are imposing now. Maybe it's not coming from your office, but some of these farmers are no longer in a position to be able to provide their produce because it's costing so much in terms of the regulatory function. So maybe we could have a conversation about that offline.
Yeah, that would be great. And you can definitely have them call my office and we can help them as best we can.
All right, thank you.
Through the chair.
Supervisor Gaucher and then Supervisor Mueller afterwards.
Sure. Just thank you for the report. Every time you come before us, Corinne, I learn something new. And, looking at this report, I agree with my colleagues. The artwork is amazing, and I'm all for art. But it's good to know what we do in our county. I was at a CSAC meeting, and they were like, what is your produce, or what do you guys produce the most? And I was like, I couldn't even answer it at that time in the CSAC committee meeting. But seeing all that we're producing and all we're doing, it makes a difference for our county and the region. Bringing from farm to table is so important, and to know that our land is producing what's making us healthy. So again, thank you, and to Supervisor Mueller, you are very fortunate to have this activity in your district.
Supervisor Mueller.
First off, I neglected to thank you all and the county for the support that's been given for the farm worker housing loan programs and other programs that are uplifting our partners on the coast. I did want to respond to Supervisor Spear that I do know what that issue is. It has to do with environmental health and services and the permitting and licensing that takes place for food preparers who are, a lot of our farmers markets also have a lot of food sales taking place. And there's a code that's being applied to those food preparers that can be problematic in the running of these markets, because what ends up happening is that someone has to collect the license fees for them. And then if it actually ends up affecting the entire market and the viability of that market. And so I look forward to working with your office on that issue. And I'm sure that probably rings a bell for you too,
It
Corin.
does ring a bell, yes.
Yeah, so
that's the other side of the market.
Thank you.
We've been working on that for about a year now, so I look forward to working with you all on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll be very brief. I'm really happy to see the upwards trend and the recovery. It's amazing. I appreciate how, the art contest is not just, I feel like it serves many purposes. You're investing in youth, in their careers, right? They can say they're published in a county report. And I feel like it also creates awareness for young people to really think about our community and one of the things that makes our community beautiful. And now I'm going to be a little silly and say that for some reason I have all of these like cow videos show up on my social media feeds, and so that's exciting to hear that livestock are sales are on the rise, and through social media I now have like greater insight into that, and now I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go visit some for real on the coast side. Last silly thing, one of my favorite videos is that for people that have like cuteness aggression issues, you can like give a cow a full body hug if they let you, of course. So that sounds fun to me. Okay, I believe we will now go to public comment.
Thank you, Vice President Corzo. No speakers from chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment for item 3 for the agricultural crop report. We have one hand raised for Sid Young. Sid, please unmute and begin.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to keep this to 1 minute. Last Wednesday, September 30th, I attended the Plan Princeton presentation at Ray Mueller's Coastside office. And something came up that it was basically rezoning Princeton, which is an industrial area, but it's right at the harbor. And there are some people that live there as well in caretaker units or the homes that have been there longer than the airport. Anyway, they brought up the concept of transfer development rights. And it was very concerning to me that one of the parcels to transfer development rights to as a receiving property was an agriculture zoning area right next to Harbor Village, where right now they're growing artichokes and lettuce and kale, that sort of thing. I think that should not be allowed. We should preserve all of our agriculturally zoned on the coast side. So I would like somebody to look into that idea. It was Summer Burleson's presentation from, I think, planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'd now welcome any additional remarks or a motion.
So I'm just going to invite everybody to go to Half Moon Bay for the Pumpkin Festival coming up in 2 weeks and celebrate agriculture a little further here on the San Mateo County coast. And as much as it was awesome to hug a cow, also want to encourage people. One of the best gifts I gave someone last year during the holiday season that was appreciated was I went to a farmer's market and bought a farm fresh steak from the coast. And I gave it to someone, and boy, I got the best response from that gift. So, both that, I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the report.
Second.
Second.
Second from Supervisor Gaucher. Suki?
Sure, I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor Canepa being absent.
Okay, amazing. We are now moving on to, I got a little off track here with my notes. I believe it's item four.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say 4. I was hesitating there. Okay, item 4. Let's see. Okay. Item 4 is a resolution approving commitments for certain affordable housing projects in the total amount of $41.1 million and authorizing the director of the Department of Housing in consultation with the county attorney to negotiate and execute all contracts. This item is brought to us by Department of Housing. Director Hodges, please introduce the item as well as any speakers we have today.
Excuse me. You bet. And good morning, Vice President Corzo, honorable board members, Mr. Callaghy, Mr. Niblin, Ms. Rodriguez. I'm Ray Hodges, Director of the Department of Housing. Happy to be here this morning to share our department's recommendations for the 13th round of the Affordable Housing Fund competition. This annual competition allocates resources to support development and preservation of affordable housing across the county. The competition was initiated back in 2013 with returned redevelopment agency funds, and it's moved forward since then with a variety of resources, including Measure K proceeds, reserves from our housing authority, ARPA and CARES Act dollars from COVID, funds obtained by the department through state competitions, in lieu and impact fees, and there's a long list of other sources as well. This year, as always, the NOFA process included staff review and recommendations that were first brought to our county's Housing Commission. It's known as the county's Housing and Community Development Committee. The committee's recommendations matched those of the department staff, so today I'm presenting the joint recommendations of our Housing and Community Development Committee and Department of Housing staff for your board's consideration. So before we dive into this year's recommendations, I wanted to highlight the impact that the Affordable Housing Fund has had over the past several years across the county. The map on the right of this slide shows the location of the affordable housing units we've financed to date. And we continue funding projects from Daly City to Menlo Park and East Palo Alto, and from the Mid-County along the bay out to the coast side. Through the first 12 rounds of the Affordable Housing Fund, so not taking the awards that we'll review today into account, to date, we financed a total of 4,939 affordable homes. 2,875 of those are complete and occupied by low-income families and individuals. 899 are under construction right now, so should be leasing up over the next year or two. And another 1,165 are in various stages of pre-development. There's a much deeper pipeline of affordable housing beyond that 1,165. Those are just units that we've already made commitments of funding to through the Affordable Housing Fund. The county invested a total of $305 million in the first 12 rounds of the AHF, and those dollars have leveraged $2.1 billion of private funds, $67 million in state funds, and $52 million in federal funding across those 4,900 homes. This means every dollar of Measure K invested in the fund to date has leveraged $16.6 of private, state, and federal funding. $16.6 for every $1 of Measure K that we've put into the fund. And as you know, development is expensive in San Mateo County and the Bay Area, of course, more broadly. But our contributions of county resources average about $62,000 per unit across those 4,900 units. And that's less than 10% of the average cost of developing a new affordable home in our county, which is roughly $800,000 across the life of the 13 rounds of the fund. Oh, there's 60.6. So looking for a moment at the funding available in this year's competition, we had a total of just over $41 million available in AHF 13. So in addition to the $20 million in Measure K funding that your board has allocated to the fund annually over the past few years, we were able to infuse $18 million of unspent ARPA funds late last year into projects that had previously received Measure K funding. So that freed up the same amount of Measure K funding, another $18 million that we were able to put into this year's Affordable Housing Fund. Other sources include county impact fees and $4 million from 3 state programs. Our team received 17 applications this year, requesting over $134 million in gap funding. 10 of the 17 met threshold, so we really only reviewed 10. And one of those projects withdrew during our scoring review. And in the end, we are recommending awards of various sizes to those 9 projects that remained. So here you can see the location of those 9 projects. 2 are located in the North County in Daly City and South San Francisco. 3 in the southern part of the county in Menlo Park, East Palo Alto, and North Fair Oaks. There are 2 in kind of the middle part of the county in Belmont, and then 2 out on the coast in Half Moon Bay and Moss Beach. So this is the list of the 9 projects recommended for funding today, which includes 8 new construction rental projects and 1 new construction homeownership project. In sum, these 9 developments will produce 636 affordable homes. The projects, all 9, address what we see as high priorities for your board and for the county generally. And they provide 80 supportive housing units for people experiencing homelessness and populations with special needs, 159 units for seniors on fixed incomes, 31 units for low-income farm workers, 272 for families who need 2- and 3-bedroom homes. And there are 2 projects that indicated an interest in setting aside units in the development for county and other public employees. This is the first time that we had requested interest in doing that in this round of the NOFA. So we were excited to see that interest. And with these awards, the first 4 projects on the list, which are in Belmont, Moss Beach, Menlo Park, and South San Francisco, should have the gap funding that they need to either pursue low-income housing tax credits and start construction over the next year, or in the case of the Habitat project in Menlo Park, to pursue the remaining fundraising they need. Their model is quite different, but very interesting. The last 4 on the list are new to our pipeline and recommended for smaller pre-development awards, which we hope will help jumpstart those projects. And then the one in the middle, the 851 Week Street project, in a perfect world, we would have filled their entire gap as well, but they received the funding that remained after we made those first 8 awards. We expect they'll come back in a future NOFA. So to just quickly run through the 9 projects, this is the Ridge at Ralston with CRP Affordable Housing. It's located in Belmont. It's recommended for $11 million and should compete well for tax credits and start construction next year. This is 65 affordable homes, 35 for larger families, and 17 for households experiencing homelessness. Cypress Point with Midpan Housing. This is in Moss Beach. It's a 71-unit project for large families, and 18 of those units are set aside for farm worker families. We're recommending a $3.5 million award, which is really a stopgap against a delayed state source. If that money comes in from the state at the end of the day, we will pull back our funding to this project, and we'll be able to put it into another project. This is Habitat for Humanity, a project in Menlo Park on Pierce Road. We're recommending an award of $1 million. It's 9 units of affordable first-time home ownership in Menlo Park. We're hoping that this award is going to position the project to compete successfully next year for CalHome funding at the state. This is Rotary Gardens senior apartments in South San Francisco. It's 80 units for seniors. We're recommending it for $16.8 million in funding, and that would position the project to obtain tax credits and start construction next year as well. It's sponsored by the South San Francisco Rotarians, and their partner is Beacon Development. This will be their third project together in South San Francisco. And this one includes 10 units for homeless seniors and an additional 10 for frail seniors who are receiving comprehensive services from the health plan of San Mateo. 851 Week Street. This is another senior project, this time in East Palo Alto. 79 units with 4 set aside for homeless seniors and 16 for frail seniors with services from the health plan of San Mateo. Sand Hill and Eden Housing are partnering on this development. This is Midway Village in Daly City, with the first phase fully occupied and the second phase well under construction. MidPen applied for pre-development funds for the third phase, and we're recommending a $1.2 million award, which will help them with the design development process for the third phase, which will be 148 units when it's built. And this project is a partnership between our housing authority, which contributed the land and rental assistance in the form of Section 8 vouchers to the project, and MidPen Housing as developer. This is the Ridge on Masonic. It's another project with CRP Affordable in Belmont. We're recommending a $1 million pre-development award. This is 63 units focused on large families. Metzger Street. This is in Half Moon Bay. This is a 52-unit project with 27 units for large families and another 17 for farm workers with MidPen Housing. We're recommending a $1 million pre-development award, which will assist them with design and entitlement work. And finally, this is 3051 Edison Way. This is a 70-unit project in North Fair Oaks. It's focused on large families and households that have one member with an intellectual or developmental disability. The project is already entitled, but our pre-development award will help them refine the project design and programming to compete well for other funding in the future. And the developer here is Novin Development. So in closing, I wanted to note again that this is a competitive NOFA process, so we allocate funding to the projects that have the highest scores at the end of the day. But our scoring priorities, which we do update every year, need to match closely with your board's priorities. So I wanted to highlight first the range of priority populations we'll serve here: families, seniors, persons with special needs, farm workers, and public employees. Second, the emphasis that we put on leverage in order to spread those Measure K dollars across as many different important priorities as we can. And third, the geographic spread, which hopefully covers the county as thoroughly as possible. And of course, there are other priorities built into the NOFA as well. But so in addition to questions on this round of the Affordable Housing Fund, to the degree you have them, if there are other priorities you think are missing or that need to be brought more to the forefront of this annual competition, we're certainly more than interested in hearing those thoughts as well. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? I see Supervisor Mueller.
Yeah, so I respect the work of the committee. I think it's not advisable for the board to get involved into the committee deliberations on these things. But I do want to ask, because I've received questions, the $3 million going to the development in Moss Beach, Is that just what is that for? Is that just they had a further gap in financing, or was there increased costs that came up, or what is that around? What is that about?
Yeah, it's not a new gap or cost increases. In theory, it's money that we actually have in the pro forma for this project that's supposed to be covered by a state source, which we've been told is being delayed, and we have not been given a timeline yet as to when we're going to be able to hear about receiving that funding for the project. It's very frustrating. We hope that, like I said, if we get that money back at the end of the day, we'll pull our $3 million award back out.
Okay, so we are expecting then money will come from the state. It's just delayed right now. So this is gap funding to make up for that.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Supervisor Gaucher, and then Supervisor Spear.
Sure. Ray, thank you for the report. Housing is so important. Can you remind me again, I know how I'm trying to understand better how the amounts are awarded or determined when it comes to these projects. There's a rubric and you have funding.
Yep. The first step, our team goes through and makes sure kind of all the pieces are there and that the basic guidelines of the Affordable Housing Fund are met. That's our threshold review. So 10 of the 17 applications we received passed that threshold review. But then, yes, there's a number of different things that we score projects on: leverage, how soon they can start construction, their likelihood of obtaining other sources of funding, the different populations they're going to serve, how deep the affordability they can hit. There's a long list of things, proximity to transit and other groceries and other amenities is another one. But there's a long list, and so our team does go through and then score each of the projects that passes threshold on each of those criteria.
Thank you. And as many of you know, I spent a week in Vienna on a social housing field study, and really the work that they're doing in social housing is not just building housing for the poor, they build housing for people, and would love to have broader conversations of how do we create housing, the affordable housing, but including some of the missing middle, because we have county staff that need housing as well, and they make a little bit too much for affordable housing, but not enough for market rate. So as we are having those conversations, I think it would be very important. Also, what I learned in Vienna as well, when you look at the senior housing, there are communal spots where all the seniors kind of come together and meet so that they're taking care of their units together. And what it allows those residents to do is kind of take care of each other. So if someone's sick, they cook and they leave food for each other, or they bring flowers. So looking at these projects of how, or if there are opportunities or things that we can bring from the study here, would love to share that with you and see how we can implement some of those ideas.
Yeah, thank you. Love to discuss it.
Supervisor Spear. You're still muted.
Supervisor Spear, you're still muted. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Ray, for the presentation. I don't want to sound like a Johnny One Note, but as we look at family housing, I would hope that we are starting to recognize the importance of putting childcare in those developments. And I didn't hear that at all in these potential ones, but I certainly think we need to take advantage of our opportunity to create housing to also create childcare, particularly in the family setting. And then secondly, you noted there was $100,000 for impact fees. I didn't even realize the county charged impact fees. Could you go into that with greater detail? I've been impressed in South San Francisco where they have been charging impact fees to commercial developers for the most part, I believe. That has been very effective for them in terms of building childcare.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for the comment on childcare. That's certainly something. There are some projects in the pipeline right now under construction, and Midway Village in this round being one that does have childcare, a childcare center built into the development. But it is something that we'd like to investigate more over the next year as well, too, ahead of the next round. But your second question, the impact fees, yes. So that is impact fees. It could be commercial or residential for market rate development. It's a fee charged to new developments of either commercial or market rate development. But that's specific in the unincorporated county, and money that fee comes back to the Affordable Housing Fund for us to use to build or preserve affordable housing through that.
Has that fee been adjusted at all? Do you know what is the fee?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head what the per square foot number is, but no, we have not adjusted it in quite some time. It's been a
So
while.
maybe we can look at that.
Yep.
And if you could get back to me, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I have a few questions of my own. Wondering if you can give some additional information on the sources of the $18 million that came back to be reallocated. And I'm wondering why this amount, it feels high for me. So I'm wondering if you can give more detail on that.
Yep. That was just money that we had awarded Measure K to, I believe it was 4 projects in last year's Affordable Housing Fund round. And there was some unspent ARPA funds that needed to go out the door and go into projects that could spend that money right away late last year. So we actually took that $18 million in ARPA funds and swapped it into those 4 projects and took the Measure K back so that we could expend those monies by the ARPA. Of course, has tight deadlines. So we identified some projects that could expend it right away. So that's Measure K funding that was then pulled out of those 4 projects and put into this year's round.
Okay. And is that, what amount do we see on average then? It sounds like that was a unique situation. What is the average for funds that come back to the source?
Oh, coming back to us from, it's usually not a lot of money. We do get some repayments over time. There's a required structure in our awards whereby if the projects are generating enough cash flow year after year, they do have to repay our loan. But it's only if they are hitting a certain amount of cash flow to repay us. So we do get some small repayments from time to time through that sort of thing. The other primary way that we do get funds back, kind of similar to what happened with the ARPA fund dollars last year, is what we're looking at with the Cypress Point project, where we were expecting an award of a different type of funding, and they're under a deadline because of their tax credit award to start construction. So we're going to go ahead and fill that gap for now and hope that state funding is going to come back in, and then we could pull that $3 million back.
Thank you. And one of the things I noticed, other than the 2 Belmont projects, which I'm not sure could be in Supervisor Mueller's district, could be in mine,
right.
Felt a little light on the D2 representation there. So I'm wondering if maybe in the future we can get, maybe we just add a column like for what district each project is in.
Oh, sure.
So we are able to keep our eye on that. But if there aren't as many projects coming out of my district, I really want to know so that I can focus on that and focus on supporting our cities and having conversations about, why that is, what we can do differently.
Yep.
So I'd appreciate that. And I was also wondering, speaking of South San Francisco, they're innovators over there. As Supervisor Spear mentioned, one of the things that has been brought to my attention, and I'm not totally sure what the answer is, and I think, Ileana, you might have some insight into this too, is whether we already have a revolving loan fund for housing and how that works if we do.
You could say we do, in that we do require repayments from these projects when they can make it. Typically, what I would think of as more of a revolving loan fund is something that's used for pre-development and acquisition costs. So we might make an early stage loan that then another source can come in later on and take out, and then we can take that money back and invest it into another project for those early stage work. Typically, the counties and cities are usually putting in that long-term commitment of subsidy that any of these projects needs in order to go ahead and make the rents work in the building and compete for tax credits. So we haven't typically done that. There are some we've looked to some other sources of funding. often from some of the business community and tech partners and things, working with groups like HEART and the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley that have collected some of those resources from other places, but that do have hard repayment requirements. So they've taken some of those funds and put them into, I think what you're talking about, the revolving funds that do get repaid. Sometimes it's when our money actually comes in that those sources get repaid, and then they can put it back into another project.
Thank you. Did you want to add anything? No? Okay. So I'd be interested in exploring if some of that 18 million could go towards creating a dedicated revolving loan fund in this county. I think, from what I know, it's worked really well in other areas. And if it's not something that we're explicitly doing, I think it is a need. And so I'm just throwing that out there, and I'd love to work with another supervisor on that. So if anyone's interested, please let me know. And I will just wrap up by saying that I want to thank you for working on getting all of these funds out the door and getting these projects in progress. I think about the pictures that you showed and how beautiful all of that housing is. I don't know, I'm not sure if I've shared here, but when I was, seeking this seat, I lived in a new building through the City of San Mateo's below market rate inclusionary program, and it was a godsend for me. It really, I don't think I could have focused on trying to get here if I, had to worry about paying like over $3,000 of rent, etc. So, these projects are not just numbers or, apartments. They are opportunities for families. And so they're very valuable. And we know construction costs continue to rise. And so it's harder to get these projects out the door. And so, I think our county's commitment to affordable housing is clear. And we still have to continue to look for what we can do better and differently. And so with that comes at times hard policy questions about how we allocate funds. But I know we all have our eyes on the same prize, which is getting as many homes built so that we can alleviate the housing crisis that impacts our most vulnerable and honestly everyone, right? Whether they realize it or not. So I will wrap up there. Is there any further discussion, or did we take? Oh, go ahead, Supervisor Gaucher, please.
I just also want to say that to Supervisor Spear, thank you for bringing up the child care. That's something else that was included in housing in Vienna, as well as having the grocery store within the facility. In Vienna, you should be able to have a 15-minute walk to work, school, and to get your groceries. So that's so important. But more importantly, this week we are celebrating the opening of Middlefield Junction, Building 1. Families were moving in this week and really excited. I want to thank my predecessor, Warren Slocum, and this board and staff for all that you've done. 179 units are available. And again, as of yesterday, moving trucks were moving up and people were moving into this affordable and supportive housing. So the housing department should be really proud of the work that we're doing here in San Mateo County. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gaucher. Would anyone else like to make a comment? Okay, then I believe we're taking public comment now.
Yes, thank you, Vice President. I don't have any speaker slips from chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment on item 4 for commitments of Affordable Housing Fund. We have 2 hands raised, Ann Schneider, followed by Sid Young. Ann, please unmute and begin.
Hi, thank you. And I think they are lovely projects. I have a couple of questions on criteria. Staff talked about it's a competitive process. This is one funding source. It's hard to cobble affordable housing money together. But do you also track the 4 cities that get CDBG and home funds, which can be used to make your grant more competitive? I guess my questions are all going to revolve around how competitive over the long term. Supervisor Noelia Corzo, also mentioned, are they being distributed throughout the districts? My question would be, if you go back over time, are they being distributed in some type of formula to every city whose residents are paying into Measure K? And my guess is that most of the funding has gone to cities with a good relationship with affordable housing builders or the 4 big cities. So if you're looking at equity, it should be equity for all cities too. Thank you.
Thank you. Sid Young, please unmute and begin.
Thank you. I live in Moss Beach, and I too have a question about the criteria used for funding Cypress Point, specifically because the Caltrans Highway 1 project will not be completed before 2030. Seton Coastside Hospital is closed. Shopping centers still remain 7 miles or 14 miles round trip. In Pacifico or Half Moon Bay, there's only a little corner liquor store that has a tiny, tiny produce section in Moss Beach. Public transportation is an issue because there's hardly any, I think it's only hourly, and in Half Moon Bay or Cabrillo Unified School District has no school buses. Also, the entire Mid-Coast, not including, of course, Half Moon Bay or Pacifica, no libraries, no emergency evacuation center, no child care except one that's being taken over by GCSD, and no senior centers. So they will have their own little itty bitty community center on site, but I think this is possibly not the best project to give money to at the moment, because the fire department said their turnaround.
If you could please wrap up.
Yeah, I was just finishing, but you interrupted me. The fire department said their turnarounds are inadequate and the ingress and egress from Highway 1 is inadequate. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, back to you.
Thank you so much. With that, unless there's further discussion, I'd love to hear a motion to approve the action set in this resolution.
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor Canepa being absent.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to request, actually, 2 of us would like to request a
Madam
5.
Chair,
Oh, yes.
Supervisor Spear has her hand raised.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you, Vice President Corzo. I think there's enough questions that have been asked today that would suggest that we should have a study session to evaluate the whole criteria scheme that is used and see if we want to refine it in one way or another.
Thank you. Good point. I will make sure that President Canepa is aware and our county executive can work on considering that. And 2 of us here would actually like to ask for a 5-minute bathroom break. So, yeah, we're going to lose quorum if any of us goes to the bathroom. So we kind of have to.
Sure. The time is now 11:16 a.m. and the board is currently in recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll resume in about 30 seconds. Okay, we're back from recess. Vice President Corzo, the time is now 11:23 a.m. And for the record, all the supervisors are present except Supervisor Canepa. And Supervisor Spear, you can still hear us, right? Just making sure.
Yes, I can.
Perfect, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 5, which is adopting a resolution renewing the county's ordinance and approval of a military equipment use policy for the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office. And this item comes to us from the Sheriff's Office. I don't have your name in front of me, but Eamon Allen, Sheriff's Captain, is here to present, and we'll introduce the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Oh my goodness. Somehow these things are never quite set up for me, so I'll do the best I can. Just briefly, I'd just like to start out my remarks by saying thank you to Suki. You've always been a tremendous resource. I think I speak for all my colleagues in the Sheriff's Office when I say you've been a tremendous resource for us, and always done so with a smile on your face. And congratulations on prioritizing your family. So whenever you get a chance to do that, you got to do it. So congrats. But you'll be missed. All right. Good morning, Vice President Corzo, Supervisors Gaucher, Mueller, Mr. Callaghy, Mr. Niblin, Ms. Rodriguez, and Supervisor Spear. Thank you for joining us remotely. My name is Eamon Allen. I'm a sheriff's captain. I serve as the military equipment coordinator for the Sheriff's Office. We're here today to respectfully request the board's consideration and approval of an ordinance to renew our authorization for the use of designated military equipment as defined under AB 481. For the benefit of the board and our community, I want to emphasize that none of the items that we maintain under this ordinance are sourced from the military, nor do we train with the military in their application. In preparation for today's discussion, the Sheriff's Office published both our military equipment policy and the 2025 annual report several months ago on our public website. We also hosted an open house at Coyote Point on May 8th, 2025, to give residents an opportunity to view this equipment firsthand and speak directly with subject matter experts regarding their use and purpose. To briefly summarize, the equipment covered under AB 481 that we currently maintain includes a mobile command vehicle, an armored rescue vehicle, unmanned aircraft systems, UAS, or drones, specialized bomb squad detection and disposal equipment, 50 caliber rifles and corresponding ammunition, and various less lethal munitions and their delivery systems. Each of these items serves a specific operational purpose, and critically, there are no viable alternatives that provide the same level of safety for our officers and civilians. A brief deployment overview for the past year. Unmanned aircraft systems were deployed 66 times, including search and rescue operations, crime scene mapping, suspect apprehension, community outreach events, and training. Bomb squad assets were used on 60 occasions, primarily for protective sweeps and the safe disposal of potentially destructive devices. The armored rescue vehicle was deployed 16 times, while the mobile command vehicle saw 12 deployments. Several systems, such as the Pepperball systems, 37 and 40 millimeter launchers, and the 50 caliber rifle, were either not deployed or used exclusively for training purposes. However, if any of these had been deployed operationally, a use of force report would have been required and subject to review in accordance with Sheriff's Office policy. Now, I should note that we recently had a very high-profile event in one of our correctional facilities where some of these assets were deployed. That doesn't appear on this year's report because it'll fall within next year's report, if that makes sense. So I look forward to discussing that. But I should note that while that use of force is still under review, some of these tools were used to successfully bring that event under control. And the early returns are that without these tools, the harm to our not only our incarcerated persons but staff would have been much greater. So those are the early returns in that use of force review. Notably, over the last year, no internal or external complaints were received regarding the use of any of these military equipment items. As we look ahead for the year to come, the only planned acquisition for the coming fiscal year is the purchase of updated unmanned aircraft systems. These will replace aging units and provide enhanced indoor flight capabilities. The estimated cost is approximately $75,000 and will be covered within the existing Sheriff's Office budget. As a reminder, the majority, if not all, of our high-value equipment, including the mobile command vehicle, the armored rescue vehicle, and our bomb detection and disposal tools, were acquired as one-time purchases through grant funding. These purchases were made at no direct cost to the county. So finally, just in closing, it's important to note that there are uncertain times right now where we're seeing actual military units deployed to cities, National Guard units. But it's important not only for the board, but also for our residents to not conflate those actions with these items. These are life-saving tools. So last month, I was planning to present on this item, and unfortunately it didn't work out that day, but I was here to hear the board name September as our Suicide Prevention Month. And that's, obviously an important topic. It's important for our residents. It's important for veterans. It's important for first responders. And the reason I bring that up is because the evening before that meeting, we deployed drones to Pacifica in a mutual aid response to look for a suicidal teenager that had run away. So that's an important reason to have these tools. This spring, we'll have the Super Bowl coming to the region. Next summer and fall, we'll have World Cup. Our bomb squad is one of the only units in the region that will be dedicated to those events to protect the millions of visitors to our region. So important there. We've deployed our mobile command vehicle to the CZU fires. We've coordinated resource protecting life and property. Just a few of the examples of what these tools can do and why they're important. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you for that presentation. And with that, I'll entertain some questions from the board. I see Supervisor Spears' hand up. Go ahead, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you, Vice President. And thank you, Captain. I had requested that this come off consent some weeks ago, and I realized that you ended up having to sit through post of the agenda and then were unable to actually have it presented. So I apologize for our scheduling that week that required you to do that. The reason why I wanted it taken off the consent agenda is because I want to make it really clear that we are not interested in militarizing the sheriff's office. And just the title of this alone is somewhat discomforting because it's talking about militarizing policy. But let me, I've read through all of this. It appears that some of the equipment that is more militaristic are being used mostly at community events. And I don't understand the value of having them at community events. I would think, I mean, I love the fact that you're at community events, but I don't know why you need to take a wheeled vehicle that have a breaching apparatus attached to, I guess it's called the Lenco Bearcat, why you need to take that to community events. And I think there's costs associated with that as well. So could you explain why you do that?
Certainly, and thank you for the question. Just for clarification, it does have a breaching apparatus capability. In driving the Bearcat around, those items are stored, so it doesn't drive around with the breaching apparatus on the front. That's something, it's a very specific purpose that if we were to deploy it, we would arrange for that apparatus to be attached to the front of the Bearcat. So as we're just driving around, it is a truck. I would say, so in personal experience, we just had this, I'm the bureau chief for the city of Millbrae, and just a few months ago, we had our national night out where the Bearcat was in attendance. And for the first time in my 22-year career in law enforcement, the fire truck was not the coolest thing that all the kids wanted to play on at National Night Out. It was actually the truck. And I agree there is a cost associated, gas driving it from Redwood City up to Millbrae, parking it up there for a couple hours. But getting our youth involved, and not only our youth, but our residents in their ability to see these things, I think. And I agree. Anytime you throw a military in front of a bill or a piece of equipment, it's going to trigger some folks. But it's important for them to get hands-on with that and see what it is. The Bearcat is a piece of armor. It's by nature defensive. There are no offensive weapons on the Bearcat. But I think just getting familiarity with our residents with these pieces of equipment starts to kind of break down barriers and let them see firsthand what these things really are. And
well,
not be
okay,
afraid of them, so.
I don't know that I agree with you on that.
Okay.
I mean, I love the fact that you're out in the community. I don't know that you need a Bearcat there to attract young kids to want to be interested in engaging with you.
Understood.
Let me focus on something else. There's two other questions I have. You have included in this report pepper balls, beanbag munitions, flashbang devices, and rubber bullets. I'm curious as to what other counties in our region use these types of ammunitions, or munitions, I should call them. and which do and which don't. I think I read that rubber bullets were used at the altercation at the county jail. Is that correct?
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's fine.
So they're not rubber bullets. They are rubber fragments in what's called a sting ball grenade, another very aggressive term. But it's a light and sound device where these rubber fragments kind of fly out, and it's a less lethal munition designed to bring an uncontrolled situation under control. As to what other counties use very specific which items and what they don't use, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to comment on that. I just know that the more options we have available, again, there's a ton of discretion and oversight and supervision when any of these tools are deployed. But it is important to have options, and we will always pursue the least harmful option to bring a situation under control.
Okay, I guess what I'm asking you is if you would survey the surrounding counties and find out which ones actually have these forms of munitions and which don't, that would be helpful. I presume the board has a role in actually paying for these, correct? That's where we interface with the department, is the fact that we pay the bills.
Yes, ma'am.
So typically, do you do these purchases through procurement and we wouldn't necessarily even be aware of them because they are under a certain value?
So the bulk of the munitions purchases are lower level. I want to say anywhere from, depending on the amount, but anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. They're not very high dollar amounts. Obviously, the situation with our budget has changed, so I look forward to working with Mr. Mankia moving forward in any of these purchases. But we would welcome, oversight as far as the dollar amounts. But in the vast scheme of our overall budget, they're not very high dollar amounts.
I appreciate that, but I guess the concern is the liability that may accrue to the county when these are actually discharged, and lawsuits would then, or claims would come to the county for injuries of persons who were impacted by it, and whether or not it was appropriate use of force or not. So, I mean, that's where I'm going in terms of my concern with when and if they are discharged, and whether or not, as the board, we are comfortable with all of those types of munitions and the potential risks associated with them.
Madam Chair, if I could, I just wanted to say something quickly in response to Supervisor Spears'
Please go ahead.
Concerns as well. And that is that pursuant to Assembly Bill 481, it would be an annual process. It's an annual process that this report on these military equipment uses and actually just having them in the inventory would come to the board. So it's an annual requirement. It is in fact a situation where the board will have the opportunity to, as we go into the future, collaborate with the sheriff's office with respect to this equipment, the advisability of having it, weighing the public safety concerns with and in the law enforcement benefits of having it against, again, the concerns that the supervisors are articulating. So it's going to be an annual process. And we were a little bit late owing to some scheduling and things getting this item here, but you can expect to see it annually from here.
And also, Supervisor, to your point, sorry.
But Mr. Nibblin, actually, let me just ask Mr. Nibblin a question. This report seems to be it's a report that comes to us after the purchases have already taken place in many cases.
That is true. That is true. On the other hand, the board ultimately has to make findings to allow for the equipment to be maintained in the inventory and used prospectively. That's part of the annual review process. Findings that you all are asked to make in connection with in connection with the subject.
And just to your point, Supervisor, I think liability prevention is all of our concern, especially as you rise through supervisory roles within the sheriff's office. But we also have to examine the alternatives. For instance, the information we have with this event in the jail is 25 incarcerated persons fighting. And we deployed some of these items to bring that under control. I can tell you that the amount, having worked in the jail, I started as a correctional officer in 2003. So I've been in fights in the jail, and I can tell you that the amount of personnel, staff, to bring a 25-person melee under control in the jail, number one, probably exceeds what we have in the jail on any given day, which means this fight is going to be ongoing. But number two, injury prevention. Anytime you go hands-on, injury prevention, injury concerns for our incarcerated persons, but also staff and claims, missed time for workers' comp issues. There's a balancing act that's forefront in all of our minds all the time.
I appreciate that. And I do think it's a balancing and weighing of the interests. But I do think it requires us to be thoughtful in evaluating this. My last question is reference to the ammunition, full metal jackets, 50 caliber. It says that it was seized over the course of several investigations. So tell me about that.
Sure. So the 50 caliber rifles and the bulk of the ammunition were seized predating my time on the SWAT team, which was 2006, 2007. It's my understanding that they were either surrendered or seized from a private citizen, and that Sheriff Horsley at the time wrote a letter to basically take custody of the firearms. Ammunition for the 50 caliber rifle is very expensive. So if we're able to acquire it through means other than purchasing it, I think that's an option that, as long as it's legally done, lawfully done, that's something that we're going to consider.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you again, Captain.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Spear. Any questions from my colleagues here in the room? No? Okay, I just have some quick remarks. I remember when I first started, and I think there was an item brought to the board for the purchase, and it was brought to us proactively for the purchase of, I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been the drones, early 2023, but I was intrigued and honestly not. I wasn't. I was skeptical. I was very skeptical. But I thought about, for example, all of the items that were used in the fight that broke up, or honestly, what is that? A brawl, a riot? I don't know. I don't know at which point it switches over, technically. But I happen to have some very big, strong cousins, and I remember being a teenager, and my cousin was, I think he was just out of his mind drunk. And I love him. He loves me. But something went wrong in his brain, and he wanted to attack me. And it took 5 of our friends to get him under control. And it didn't happen without people being injured. And, he woke up the next day and felt horrible about it. But so I'm just sharing that it's not easy to get people under control when they're either under substances or they're just seeing red, and their fight or flight mode is on, and it's all the way up to fight. And we visited the juvenile hall recently and learned that the juvenile hall is actually one of, I would say, the few where tear gas and tasers are not used. And what Chief Keene shared was that doesn't come without consequence, right? They see a lot more workers' comp situations, especially as they employ more women, smaller women like me, where it takes 4 or 5 people to get one fight of two young men under control, and people get injured. It's not fun for anyone, but it has to be, stopped. And when you don't have certain tools, a lot more people get injured. And so I just, I think about those situations, and I understand why certain tools are necessary. That being said, I think this board would very likely be very concerned if, for any of these items were used at, like, let's say, a peaceful protest or that kind of situation. So I understand some of the skepticism. In fact, I remember in 2020 during some of the Black Lives Matters protests in the city of San Mateo, there was a call made to the sheriff's office for backup as people got closer to the police department. No one was trying to, be violent or cause harm. But a lot of people were very concerned about how the sheriff's office arrived there and kind of like the show of force that they displayed and everything that they came with. And so I just think it is important for us to be thoughtful. We want people to feel safe. And so, I hope that in the future when there's more stability at the sheriff's office that we can continue to have these discussions. But there's a lot going on right now. And so, I understand for some of the items why they're necessary. And want to thank you for presenting and answering all of the questions. At times, we represent the community, and when there are questions that they have, it's our job to ask those questions. But thank you for being so honest and transparent. And Supervisor Spear, thank you for your questions. I do think it's worth the discussion. And so with that, I believe, Supervisor Gaucher, please.
I just want to just make a quick comment. Thank you for your presentation. This is something that is a standard practice. In East Palo Alto, we would also receive equipment as well. But I think in this day and age, we want to make sure that we are not normalizing the military in our communities. So when you're thinking about that, this is not in alignment with what's going on with the federal government, but let's just make sure that our communities know that they're safe and that they're never going to be under attack from their own county. So again, thank you for sharing this information. I think this is something that we continue to look at and continue the dialogue so that we all feel comfortable with this process.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to public comment.
Thank you, Madam President. Vice President, I have no speakers from chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment for item 5, military equipment use policy and annual report. No hands raised, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. With that, we will entertain a motion to accept and approve this report.
I'll also move.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Spear and second by Supervisor Gaucher.
Okay, I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor Canepa being absent.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now moving on to item 6. This agenda item is from the Office of Sustainability, which introduces an ordinance repealing Chapter 4.100, Stormwater Management and Discharge Control of the County Ordinance Code, replacing it with Chapter 4.100, Stormwater Pollution Prevention, determining that the ordinance is exempt from the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, and waiving the reading of the ordinance in its entirety. Director Sharma, please introduce the item.
Absolutely. Good morning, Vice President Corzo and honorable members of the board. I am Jasneet Sharma. I'm the director for our Sustainability Department. Thank you, Suki. And today the Sustainability Department brings forth before this board an ordinance related to stormwater pollution prevention. Before I start the presentation, I just want to take a couple of minutes to thank some staff and partners as well. Specifically, I have Melissa Ross-Perkins and Sultan Henson here, who are staff from our Sustainability Department and have led this effort very diligently over the last couple of years. And more so, we've had several staff and executive leaders from Planning and Building, Public Works, Parks, and Environmental Health Services, both for collaborating with us, and without their expertise and their time and guidance, this update would not have been possible. So the county with other counties, cities, and special districts is actually a permit holder of the Municipal Regional Stormwater National Pollution Prevention Discharge Elimination System, which we, in kind of more common terms, we call the NPDES permit. And the California regulations were updated and new provisions were added in around the 2022 time period as well. There are, like I said, new provisions, and that is essentially what has prompted the county to update its own ordinance at the same time. Some of these provisions, as mentioned there, include specific trash reduction requirements to prevent it from entering our bay and our oceans. There are also new and lowered impervious surface thresholds that specifically when construction is happening or new development is proposed. And lastly, there is some cost reporting that we have to do, which is identifying the capital and also operation and maintenance costs. So on occasion, there can be some confusion regarding the ordinance. Just again, to remind everyone, the main purpose of the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Ordinance is to reduce pollutants from entering our storm drains, our water bodies, and our water courses. So for example, the provisions in the NPDES permit can regulate situations such as when you have dirt washing off a property, and this is really happening when a home is under construction, they are required to have erosion and sediment control around the property. Another situation is when you could have you have trash that's polluting our ocean and our bay. Trash is typically monitored at a stormwater outfall. However, the solutions to prevent this trash from entering our storm system and then going into the ocean or the bay can happen at different locations as well. So an example of this is in partnership with Public Works, we had a grant for $400,000 to install an underground trash capture device in the North Fair Oaks area. And what we're really trying to do there is it's a large concrete device that's put underground, and it really just separates or it holds back the trash from moving further while it lets the stormwater get through. The third example of this is commercial pollution. The program also regulates industrial and commercial pollution and any dumping into our storm drains, as well as ensuring there's proper manure management that's happening at horseboarding facilities, which some of them do exist in our unincorporated areas. So there are some aspects of stormwater, like green infrastructure, which can be used to reduce localized flooding. However, stormwater efforts are not intended as flood mitigation, which is focused on more large and longer duration events. So again, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Ordinance is how the county implements this local permit. The ordinance is specifically applicable to the unincorporated areas and provides the county with authority to require pollution prevention in industrial, commercial, agricultural, and our municipal operations as well. As mentioned earlier, this was a partnership with several departments in the county as well, and this partnership will continue to implement the ordinance as well. This is the first comprehensive update since 1995. While the ordinance has been revised in bits and pieces over the year, the current ordinance had given sole authority for implementation to the Environmental Health Services, which is not how we implement the program currently. So the ordinance was updated to, again, provide the authority to the county to enforce these new provisions, reflect the shared roles and responsibilities across departments. Our department coordinates the reporting and also the grant administration. Planning and building does a lot of the erosion and sediment control measures and reviews the permits. Public Works, as an example, installed the trash capture devices. Environmental Health does the industrial and commercial inspections. And then Parks is responsible for the pollution control on county parks. You'll also notice that we've mentioned that several documents have been incorporated by reference. So the Drainage Control Manual, which was developed by Planning and Building, is a how-to for property owners and developers to implement requirements for construction projects. So incorporation of these documents by reference allows the department to update documents like a manual as and when new requirements come in. So in closing, the department recommends adoption of the proposed ordinance to align with state mandates, provide authority to implement the new provision, and also reflect the shared roles and responsibilities by departments to implement stormwater in the unincorporated county areas. And then thank you so much for your time, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director. With that, I will open the floor for questions from my colleagues. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to public comment.
Thank you. I don't have any speaker slips from chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment for item number 6 for Sustainability's Ordinance Code item. We have one hand raised from Ann Schneider. Ann, please unmute and begin.
Thank you. Ann Schneider, Millbrae. There is a tiny portion of what I consider Millbrae that is actually unincorporated land owned by SFO. It is also my understanding that all parcels pay into the stormwater fee. And yet this little strip, it looks like a Christmas tree, or one side of a Christmas tree, runs along the west side of 101. All of that drains into what was formerly Lamita Creek, now Lamita Canal, and ends up at pump stations. Now, if SFO is paying money for that area into the county, but it is Millbrae taking care of the trash capture or things like that, then I think that needs to be investigated. In addition, and this is probably true for every city along 101, most of 101 drains into, on the west side, drains into local governments who have to take care of that trash capture. So just thoughts to think about. Last thing, we have an ordinance on fake grass. Pretty soon we'll all be responsible for microplastics. Where is microplastics going to fit? And school districts installed fake grass, artificial turf, astroturf, whatever you want to call it,
please wrap
in
up.
all of the schools, overriding cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We will move on to additional remarks from my colleagues, and I might have some actually, like usual. So I was wondering, so my understanding is that our ordinance was a little, our ordinance update was a little behind the state update. Is that right?
When you say behind, so the state update happened, yes, the requirements came out in 2022.
Thank you.
Yes.
And just wondering if you have any background on why ours happened so late.
It has been a few years in the making, so we were finally able to bring it to the board now.
Thank you. And do we have much discretion over the contents of this ordinance?
There are very specific requirements in that municipal regional stormwater permit that I mentioned. So it lays out what the requirements are, how we implement it. We have some discretion there. And things like we have to conduct inspections, we can enforce, we issue violations. So it's more of the operational piece that we have discretion over how we do it, but not as much on the requirements.
Thank you. And I think that's it for my questions. Actually, no. Do we know where the trash capture devices will be distributed geographically? Will they be mostly in unincorporated?
They will be in unincorporated because that's really what this ordinance applies to. Yes.
And do we have an idea of whether these have happened or been updated in cities? Is there any conversation around that?
So that's where I think CCAG comes in, because they are the ones that coordinate stormwater, updates and also overall stormwater management for all the cities. So they are definitely providing the advisory and the technical assistance to all the cities. They consolidate the annual report and send that on to the water board. So, yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Supervisor Mueller.
Yeah, so this is really important, obviously, for our beaches, and I'm very appreciative of it. But I am also, when I see work like this, I am concerned about one size fits all. Mm-hmm. And so I want to make sure that as we're looking for measures for implementation, that we don't just look at what's being done in urban areas, but we also go and we look at rural ag counties and what their practices are when they're going to go ahead and implement in these areas. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And then I want to give a shout out to, well, this topic makes me think about a recent event I went to in the city of Foster City, hosted and sponsored by the Pacific Beach Coalition. And one thing I learned was that, there are things that communities can do, like beach cleanups, not just beach cleanups, creek cleanups, neighborhood cleanups, that really help mitigate any of the trash that makes it into our stormwater drains. And it's important for our wildlife, for our ecosystems. And I participated in this trash cleanup, and I focused on the microplastics, which was kind of like meditative, to be honest, because you really have to look, but they're everywhere. And so I just want to lift that up as an avenue that our community and our leaders can explore in terms of doing our part to lessen the burden of what some of our updates and systems have to deal with. And I want to thank you and your colleagues for doing this work and bringing this revised ordinance to the board. It's important work. I'm really proud that our county is so environmentally educated and proactive. So I want to thank you for your work.
And Supervisor, if I may take the chance to actually make a plug, because you mentioned action that residents can take. So we're very soon launching a new pet waste campaign with the city of Pacifica and Half Moon Bay. Pet waste is one of the pollutants that's been identified by the water board for us to address. So you all might start seeing some of these signs which say stop water pollution. So it's a little bit of being silly, as you mentioned, but you're going to start seeing some of that on the coast side when the residents are out about. But I think just reminding people that there are actions we can take in our everyday lives to make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you. And with that, I'd love to hear a motion to introduce this ordinance. Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. I keep forgetting.
Thank you, Madam.
Public comment.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Are you planning to speak on this item?
I'm unfamiliar with the protocol,
Okay.
but I'm here out of frustration and dealing with bureaucratic processes. So,
If you're going to speak on this item, you can mention your name and you'll have a minute.
yeah, my name is Ryan Houston. I'm a general contractor. I'm a coastside resident, and I wanted to also highlight Supervisor Miller's comment about one size fits all. We're being burdened with bureaucratic processes at the residential building level that are ineffective for our area, and the whole stormwater conversation really is being utilized to stop the water, not necessarily pollution. I've watched over 35, 40 years the maintenance of our stormwater control directed straight to the ocean be mismanaged, ineffectively maintained, and backflow. We have flooding on the coast side we've never had just because our stuff is not being maintained and cleaned for environmental considerations or just a lack of funding. I've watched the whole system slow down and cause problems. So as a builder, the burdens are being put on myself and my clients to manage this water on site, which is really a micro problem. And given the geography, the terrain, the soil conditions that we have, it's ineffective.
Can I just ask, what part of the coast do you live on?
I live in Montera.
Okay.
And I'm actually here dealing today with issues at the building department, and I have a request for a meeting with you to discuss overall issues.
So I want to just say
Well, I just want to make a comment. to
No,
my
I understand.
colleagues.
I will. I'm just going to say that just giving folks a heads up that if I become president next year, I do want to lessen the back and forth during public comment because we're not technically supposed to do that, but please go ahead.
I don't have any more
I just
back and
listened
forth.
to
I
you
just
make
wanted to
private
clarify.
comment for an extended period of time. So give us the same courtesy.
Could you state your name for the record? You mean you don't
Ryan
have to?
Houston. I did state my name, did I not?
Thank you.
We'll follow up with you, Mr. Houston. I just wanted to get some context from my colleagues in my comments that will follow up.
Thank you. With that, I think we take public comment from
Zoom.
virtually.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice President. Madam Clerk, please proceed. No additional comments from chambers.
Thank you. At this time, we have two hands raised, so I will take Ann Schneider, followed by Sid Young. Ann, please unmute and begin.
Thank you. I'm a little confused because if the public comes and gives presentation,
I'm sorry,
or
Ms. Schneider. I think you just spoke on this item, so I think
Yes.
we're only allowed 1
then
minute.
you
So
called for speakers and
Yes,
nobody answered my
for additional
questions.
speakers.
Sorry. Yes, thank you so much. We do allow one comment per speaker per item. So I will now move on to the next speaker. This is for, let me just double check here.
For the item number
And
6.
we actually did call both speakers. So we will now move on. Both speakers are Ann Schneider and Sid Young, who already spoke.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Sid Young didn't speak, I believe. I don't have her name, but through Vice President Corso.
Okay, let me go ahead and take that one.
Thank you. Sid Young, Moss Beach, and I only spoke on the Mid-Penn housing funding. I didn't speak on this item. I took Civics 101, which is an excellent program put on by San Mateo County. And my understanding from having taken that course is that stormwater is managed by Department of Public Works on the unincorporated areas. So recently they tried to say we were going to have a oh gosh, what do they call it? I'm sorry. A special assessment for our neighborhood if we wanted stormwater. And they've been channeling stormwater over the bluff into an ASBS, which is Area of Special Biological Significance, the Fitzgerald Marine Reserve, for decades. So I am very much opposed to them trying to push off their stormwater responsibilities onto our tiny little neighborhood. And Mr. Houston is right. The whole coast side is suffering from lack of stormwater. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam Vice President. We actually do have Supervisor Spears' hand raised as well.
Okay, I do believe Supervisor Mueller wanted to share comments first, so I'm going to allow him to do so, and then we'll go with Supervisor Spear.
Thank you. So I appreciate you coming today, and it's one of the issues that we're trying to grapple with is that the Mid-Coast unincorporated area does not have a stormwater management fee. And that was a decision made a long time ago by a number of supervisors back. And what that means is that there is no fund being built up to make stormwater drainage improvements. And what was done is being done on a property improvement by property improvement basis, which is why builders like yourself can come in and be upset about that. We have reached a point in the last, this became highlighted by the Mid-Coast Councils and other back during when I first came in the office during that incredible storm system that pummeled the coast. And so this is an issue that we have to have a discussion with the residents of unincorporated Mid-Coast about whether or not people are going to support putting in stormwater management fees to go ahead and start dealing with the flow of water. I do have the concern that because of the terrain of the Mid-Coast and the way that water flows, that it will be difficult in a rural or semi-rural area that to identify where the water is coming from, and that one person might get the blame for cleanup when it's really an aggregate amount of water. And that's why to explain to my colleagues, that was why I said I really want to take a look at that's not a one-size-fits-all process, but what are they doing in other areas of the state that are akin to the coast side. And so it's something we'll be taking up, sustainability. The discussion of how we handle stormwater on the coast is long past due, and it's something that we're going to have to talk with residents about in the county. It's not just an issue in Montero, it's an issue up and down throughout the Mid-Coast that I inherited that we're trying to figure out how we're going to grapple with. I look forward to meeting with you. Thank you for coming today.
Okay, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you, Vice President. This is a question for County Attorney, and it's about the whole issue of public comment. I think it becomes paralyzing if someone comes to us, takes the time to come before us, has a specific question, that we sit there silently. Is there something that restricts our ability to have any kind of engagement under public comment?
I think it's within the discretion of the board president, ultimately board members as well, to respond as they see fit to comments that are raised. I do think it's true that we don't, and it has not been our practice historically to have a conversation from the dais. I do think that supervisors have historically, however, when they deemed it appropriate, offered brief response to comments that are made, whether they come in, in person or remotely, and that. So I think there's a bit of art as opposed to fixed rule and all of that. But I think the notion is we haven't historically had dialogue going back and forth. But again, a brief response to comments that are raised is not uncommon and somewhat consistent with the board's historical practice.
So it's a practice, not an ordinance or a state statute that requires that no conversation take place when there's public comment.
That's true. Again, the Brown Act is very specific as to things that aren't otherwise agendized. These are agendized topics that we're dealing with here. I think it can get a little bit. We might have a different answer when we're talking about general public comment, where we're dealing with comments that have come to the board that relate to matters that were not on the agenda. But for matters that are on the agenda, again, there's I think you're right. It's a question of practice and sort of the way the board has typically dealt with those sorts of things.
All right. I just think that if that's a practice, then it should be something that the board in consensus comes up with a policy, as opposed to having just the board president make that an edict in the future.
Thank you. So I want to get back on topic here, but I wanted to just clarify what just happened. My intention was not to say that we could not have dialogue. It's just public comment should be closed, and then board members can make any remarks they want, just for the sake of order and fairness. And as folks may have noticed, I've been asking folks who go over time right at 10 seconds to please wrap up their comments. So I'm trying to create consistency. And so that will feel a little bit different, but the intention is not to not allow this board to respond to their constituents at all. It's just so that we have clarity around public comment is open, public comment is closed, and board members can respond to whatever they want that they heard during public comment. So with that, we will get back to this item, and I will entertain a motion if one is made. Wait, did we already do that? See, I'm confused now.
Yeah, no motion yet. So we need a
Okay, so
motion,
I would, if someone would like to make a motion, we can move on to a vote.
So what's the motion before us?
The motion is to introduce this ordinance, make CEQA findings, and waive the reading of the ordinance in its entirety.
All right, so I'll go ahead and move the item.
Second.
Thank you.
Sure. I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
And Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor Canepa being absent.
Okay, thank you for that. We are now moving on to item number 7, which is from the County Executive's Office and introduces an ordinance that revises the county employee expense reimbursement policy and adjusts a provision related to government claims and waives the reading of the ordinance in its entirety. And I believe CEO Kalagi or CFO Mankia will be presenting this item.
I'm just going to start this off, Vice President Corzo and members of the council, and just say that periodically and more recently, we are trying to look at our ordinances as it relates to transparency and good governance and trying to update as many of those as possible. This is one that we thought was ripe. It has not been addressed for years. So Mr. Mankia and his team delved into this and has worked with staff to update it. I'm going to ask Mr. Mankia to briefly, in 1 minute or so, give the board an update as to the changes.
Okay, so good afternoon, Vice President Corzo, honorable members of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Calgi, Ms. Rodriguez, and Mr. Niblin. This really was a collaborative effort between many departments. So the controller's office, the county attorney's office, the CEO's office, department heads, human resources all got together for the last 16 months and really looked over both state and federal policies and tried to figure out what the best policies would be for our county. There were not a huge amount of changes, but when you change a policy that is also attached to ordinances, we have to come back and look at the ordinances. What we really wanted to look at was inconsistencies in some of the policies that were out there over the course of the last 20 years that have been enacted, which kind of put back and forth some of the conversations on how things get paid for reimbursement. So this document really is just about trying to realign where we are currently at with both the travel policy and the ordinance. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from board members? Okay, seeing none, I have questions because this has been the vein of my existence since I came to the Board of Supervisors. So I'm curious. I believe there are some items in this ordinance where we are bringing down reimbursement amounts for meals, and this is for all county staff when they travel to conferences, et cetera, correct?
Correct.
Okay, can you clarify why things are being brought down when we know that the price of everything has gone up?
So they're not being brought down, they're
Oh, they're
being pushed to the federal CONUS rate. And rather than the rate being double the rate, which is what our old policy said, we did do a lot of checking, and we did hotel checking, and we really brought it down to a rate that was still above what we found to be the rate. So 175% of a CONUS rate for a hotel and the CONUS rate itself are items that we felt were very aligning with what was currently out there cost-wise. So we really did look at the cost to try and verify the cost of that.
Okay, that makes sense. What about? So I just want to pose a scenario here for my colleagues because I think we should understand how this will impact not just county staff but us as well. So let's say there is a conference that the Office of State Sustainability Leadership will be attending, and the conference is at a hotel, but it's at 200% of the CONUS rate. What happens in that scenario?
If the conference is at the hotel and that is a hotel conference, it is accepted.
Okay.
It's outside of the hotel conference space.
Mhm.
If you were to have to go outside of that space, then you would be at 175% of the rate.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I think I saw some shortened timelines on some of these, and I'm actually really concerned because I know my team is not always great about submitting their reimbursements within 120 days, and we're bringing that down to 60 days. And so I think I'm concerned about the unintended consequences for a lot of our staff for that.
We have seen very few that actually come in over the 60-day period. Most of them are within the first 30 days of the space, which is why we brought it down to the 60 days, because anything after a certain period of time was conversations that were actually becoming necessary to have to try and figure out if all the information was there. And what we found is that sometimes at the 120-day mark, we don't have all of the receipts anymore, the things that are needed, and we're having to make exceptions, which is why this was brought down to the 60-day period.
Okay. I still am concerned about that being such a big shift and how staff would be. What I don't want to see happen is frontline staff making expenses, because the reason this is important is because unlike many other counties and, private sector, even nonprofit sector, this county, not because we don't want to, but I believe this is from our controller's office, does not allow any of our departments to have credit cards or, department cards. And so, I remember coming into this role, and I was previously considered low income in this county. I didn't have the money to just pay for, a conference for all of my staff. I don't want them to bear that burden. And so I think that's what makes me really concerned about this change happening so quickly. And I am not inclined to support it without making sure that all of our staff have enough notice. Can you clarify what the start date would be?
So this would actually start probably within the next month, And this did go through the union. So labor was involved in the conversations, and all the changes that labor required were actually made.
Okay. I
Supervisor-
still think that's very fast. Go ahead.
Supervisor Corzo, so it would require a second reading, and then it would take effect 30 days after the second reading. So we've got about, a month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to name, like, we have county employees who make expenses on with their personal funds, and for whatever reason, because they're working a ton of overtime, or reimbursements are not always at the top of people's list. And if we are limiting the timeline for people to get reimbursed for money that they should not be spending for their job, it just makes me uncomfortable that we're shortening the timeline and that it would happen so quickly. I've been very interested in this topic. I've had conversations with our county controller about it. And I wasn't really, I'm glad the unions are involved. That's really important. That doesn't mean that every county employee understands what the impact will be on them specifically. So I want to, name that, and I don't know how my colleagues will feel here, but I'm hesitant to move forward so quickly.
If I can propose a change, either an exception to the ordinance that would come to me to make a determination, or we move it to 90 days. My main concern is reimbursing the employees so they don't accumulate charges on their credit card, and trying to get them the funding as soon as possible. I would hope that every employee would try to get that in, but I do know that life gets in the way, and I've been the victim of that also. So I appreciate that perspective. So happy to look at some type of compromise here that works for everybody.
Supervisor Spear has her hand raised.
Oh, please go ahead, Supervisor Spear.
Thank you. Robert, can you tell us what the CONUS rate is for meals and hotels? My experience was that it was pretty generous. So if we're doing 175%.
So the CONUS rate for meals, I believe, and it's different obviously everywhere that you go, but in San Mateo County, I believe it's $75 was the last time I used it. And it's different prices for each individual set of meals. So breakfast, lunch, and, oh, look. Was I close? Yeah. I was close. So it is $36 for dinner, $23 for lunch, $22 for breakfast. With everything included, you can go up to $86.
That's
includes tips.
175% of CONUS. Is that what you're saying?
No, that is the
Or is
value.
CONUS?
That's currently CONUS, the current rates that
Okay,
are on the
so
federal side.
86 is CONUS, 175 is almost, what, $120? I think
That
it's
was
actually
for
quite generous.
That was for meals. The hotels would be a little different, but yes, hotels are somewhere in the neighborhood of about two. So you would be somewhere around 325, 350 for a room.
Yeah, I actually think the proposal is quite generous. The one question I do have is if a staff member is going to a conference, has to pay for the conference, it would seem to me that the county would be in a position to be able to pay for the conference at the outset, as opposed to having
So we can
the
pay for
staff member do
conferences.
it.
We can pay for conferences currently, and we do have a credit card in most of our departments that is utilized by the main staff. So most of the executive secretaries or administrative assistants carry credit cards that we utilize for these purposes.
All right, thank you. I'm very comfortable with the policy.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned with the CONUS rates. I'm more concerned with limiting the time for staff so quickly.
Through the chair, I think the one thing that we can look at, for most of my staff, and when we travel, we try to do it right away because we need our money, so we're not waiting. But in the case where you may have misplaced a receipt, it's waiting. How long does it take for that credit card payment to come in so that you could see those payments? Is that 45 days, or I don't know what that is? So
dependent on how you utilize your credit cards today, it's almost immediate because it comes to your credit card statement right away on your computer or phone. But other than that, it would take probably about 15 days to garner a new receipt from someone at that point in time.
Yeah, so with that, I think it's just reminding people
And-
to process. I think
and-
if you need your money,
Yeah.
you are trying to process those expenses right away.
Right. And on page 12 of the administrative memo that was attached, you will actually see that you actually, through your department head and through Mr. Calgi, can actually get it approved after the 60 days, but the 60-day is what the policy has inside of it. So that is already part of the existing policy.
And I think to that point, it would probably be worthwhile, if that was going to be the policy, for us to consider maybe an amendment to 2.72.060, which says that expense reports shall be submitted within 60 days after incurring the expense, subject to an exemption or subject to exception approved by the county executive. Just so, again, the ordinance is really what drives the train. We need to have administrative memoranda be consistent with the ordinance. So I think maybe what we need to do is tweak the ordinance to reflect that, if that's going to be what the administrative if that's what the administrative memorandum says.
Supervisor Mueller. Oh my goodness, sorry.
The only thing I was going to say is when the one exception for you can stay at the hotel, can that be made to be within a half mile or a quarter mile of the hotel? So the thing that I have experienced is that people, is it already in there? No. You guys are talking back and forth, so I'm not sure. It's
We're talking about where the rate's at. So
just to clarify, it's not staying at the same hotel. Sometimes a conference rate will be set, $250 perhaps per night. They book a certain number of rooms, but you try to get that rate, and those are all gone.
Mm-hmm.
They may say, "Oh, you can still stay at the hotel, but it's $700 a night." The county doesn't reimburse for that. It's the conference rate itself.
So if you book late, you are going to travel great. You have to basically find a hotel in the area that would offer the conference rate.
Yeah, or the 175% of CONUS.
So not in fact the conference rate. It might actually be lower
usually higher than the
conference rate.
conference rate itself. CONUS is usually higher than the conference rate because the hotels, to the point that was just made, usually have a deal that's garnered for the hotel to garner less expensive rooms for that time frame. But usually the hotels in the surrounding areas, you can go to 175% of the CONUS rate for that area, which we found in Monterey fits.
I'm going to let it go. So
it's the same rule it's always been, Supervisor. But
I just am one of those people who never end up at that hotel. I always end up in a hotel nearby, but it's okay. It's all worked out, so we'll be fine.
So I'd like to propose, I'd be more comfortable with 90 days and then maybe shifting to 60 days a year after. I do think it's important that we have the expectation that folks submit the reimbursements soon. I'm just worried about the transition, really. And just for the public, going to conferences is rare, but when our staff do go, they're pretty expensive at times. And so I know you shared that there are department cards, but trust me, not everybody gets to use them, because there have been many cases where staff are paying things out of pocket, or where I've had to pay for a hotel on my personal credit card for my entire staff and I, and those are big dollars we're talking about. The process that the controller's office has is you can, for example, submit for a check, but it's very bureaucratic. It takes a long time, and it's frustrating. So sometimes it's just easier to put things on a personal credit card. And that's what staff has to deal with most of the time. So I don't want our staff not getting reimbursed. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'd say is that it's not always conferences. So I've had to go down to the Coastal Commission meetings. I've had to go up to CPUC meetings. I've had to go different places, and there's no conference rate. You're just going and trying to figure out, and it's usually last minute because they called you and said something's on the agenda that matters to your district. So
let me suggest this on the rate, because I do see a point. Let us go back and take another look at this, especially. I'm concerned about the hotel rates and the fact that often you can't get into the conference hotel, and the rates around there may be taking advantage of that and exceed the limits of the CODIS rate. So I don't think there's any urgency on this right now. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at this and take the comments for feedback and bring it back to the board?
I'd be comfortable with that. Okay. Public comment?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any speakerships from this room, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand to comment for item 7. We have one hand raised for Jericho project. Please unmute and begin. Jericho project, you're still muted. If you can unmute your microphone. Thank you.
No, okay, let's be careful.
Your audio is on, Jericho project. Are you speaking for this item?
No, we had another question for the agenda.
Okay, I'll go ahead and close your audio. And no further speakers, Madam Vice President.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 8.
So just for the record, Vice President, that item is being postponed, right?
Yes.
Until further notice. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, which is Measure K, adoption. Measure K authorizing a one-time grant of district discretionary Measure K funds not to exceed $30,298 to San Mateo Public Library Foundation for expanding adult English language learning access with child care support. I am the sponsor for this item. I do believe we have someone from the foundation here to speak on this item. But I want to just reiterate that my office has a very comprehensive and transparent application and selection process for our Measure K items. And this is the first recommendation we're making for the 2025 through 26 fiscal year. And with these funds, the San Mateo Public Library Foundation plans to collaborate with the San Mateo Foster City School District to expand its English literacy programs to provide more opportunities for English learner adults served by the San Mateo Foster City School District. In addition to expanded English learning programs, this foundation will be providing childcare on site to make this opportunity accessible to all. And with that, I'd like to welcome Karen Kavam, Director of Development at the San Mateo Public Library Foundation, who will be joining on Zoom to say a few words on the program and the importance of this grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you promote Karen to be a panelist?
Yes, she's transferring now.
Thank you.
Hi there. Good morning, supervisors and everyone on the call. Sorry, I'm going to share this real quick. Apologies. There we go. So my name is Karen Kavam, and I'm the Director of Development at the San Mateo Public Library Foundation. The foundation is a nonprofit founded in 1994, dedicated to enhancing funding for the San Mateo Public Library and building community advocacy for its programs. The library is a vital community hub in District 2, serving more than 86,000 cardholders, welcoming over 336,000 visitors each year. Together, we work to make knowledge accessible, strengthen literacy and learning, and create inclusive civic spaces where everyone feels like they belong. So on behalf of the foundation, the library, and our program partner, the San Mateo Foster City School District, I want to thank you for supporting our Project READ expansion through the District 2 Measure K grant. Project READ is the library's adult literacy program, which empowers adults to build English and literacy skills so they can participate more fully in our community, improve employment and health opportunities, and support their children's education. With Measure K funding, we're able to bring this program directly into a community school, removing barriers like transportation and childcare that often prevent families from attending. Project READ actually launched this new site at Sunnybrook Elementary School on September 9th, and we're already off to a strong start. At Sunnybrook, we now have 30 adult students enrolled, supported by 5 trained tutors, including Project READ staff, and 8 children receiving free play-based care in the classroom, allowing the parents to focus on their own learning while their children are nearby and engaged. This expansion represents a powerful community collaboration, the Library Foundation managing the grant, the library delivering instruction, and the school district providing space and family outreach to people in the community schools. We're deeply grateful to Supervisor Corzo and the District 2 team for recognizing that literacy is a pathway to equity and opportunity. Because of Measure K support, immigrant and working families in San Mateo will be gaining confidence, connection, and new opportunities for lifelong learning. So thank you for helping make that possible.
Thank you so much, Karen.
If anyone has any questions.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to questions from the board. Okay, go ahead, Supervisor Spear.
Supervisor, you're muted. Sorry.
Muted? Okay.
Go ahead.
I actually think this is a great idea, but I think it should be countywide in this application. And I don't know how much it would require to do it, but it's yet another example of how, good ideas should have countywide application. Measure K money should be used countywide in its application. So to, I guess, our county executive, my question is, what would it take to make this available as a countywide opportunity?
We'll look into that and work with the applicants here to find if it can be expanded and how much that will cost, and I'll come back to you with that information.
Thank you. I'll just jump in, and Karen, please correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but the City of San Mateo has city libraries. This foundation is specifically for City of San Mateo libraries. We have our county libraries who could replicate or partner to expand a program like this. But for this grant, it is for City of San Mateo libraries. Correct, Karen?
That is correct.
Thank you. And I think we'd actually really encourage, expansion and collaboration. Go ahead, please, Karen.
Yeah, and this is available for the 5 community schools, open to all the English learning families in the 5 community schools in the county or the San Mateo Foster City School District. So it's within the city of San Mateo, but it would definitely be a wonderful thing to expand with other organizations partnering with us. But yeah, we work directly in San Mateo.
Thank you so much. With that, unless there are further questions, we will open it up for public comment.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. We do have one speaker. If you could come up and state your name, please, and then you'll have a minute.
Hi, my name is Sam Johnson, and I'm the new director for and reentry for Retraining the Village. And our goal is to try to get some of the Measure K so we can continue to do our reentry program with housing, which we house people, homeless people, people coming out of prison too. So we're trying to get a part of that Measure K funding for support to further our cause.
Thank you so much. I do think that your comment maybe should have been during public comment since it's not an agendized item, but every district does have discretionary funds. Should we move on, Suki?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. No additional speakers from Chambers, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Those on Zoom, please click raise hand. We're on item number 8 for the San Mateo Public Library Foundation Measure K item. No hands raised.
Okay, thank you. With that, I will move to approve this Measure K district discretionary grant. Is there a second? Second, thank you.
Thank you. I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Not voting.
Abstaining? Okay, thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor Canva being absent and Supervisor Spear abstaining on this item.
Okay, thank you. We are now moving on. Oh, I think that might be it, actually. 28. Apologies. Yes, item 28. Let me scroll down here. Okay, item 28 is adoption of a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with the Department of Justice, California Department of Justice Bureau of Forensic Services for distribution of the 2025 Sexual Assault Evidence Submission Grant Program funds to the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $2,362,500 and authorizing an appropriation transfer request. Please, I'm sorry, I don't remember. your
Samantha
name.
Dalporto.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice President Corzo, Honorable Supervisors, Mr. Callaghy, Mr. Niblin, Ms. Rodriguez. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I'm Samantha Dalporto. I am the director of the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office Forensic Laboratory, and I'm joined here today by Assistant Sheriff Enriquez. Today, we're requesting the court board's approval to adopt a resolution authorizing an agreement with the California Department of Justice Bureau of Forensic Sciences to accept a grant for $2,362,500, as well as to authorize an appropriation transfer request for this unanticipated revenue. This grant funding will be used for the testing of untested sexual assault kits. For the last 4 years in my role as laboratory director, it has been a mission of mine to find a way to get all of our untested sexual assault kits in San Mateo County tested. And I'm very pleased to announce that this grant will allow us to do that. This is also in alignment with the Sheriff's Office mission. It will ensure equity to testing of sexual assault kits for all survivors of sexual assault, promoting justice for survivors and accountability for perpetrators. It's responsive to advocacy initiatives advocating for all sexual assault kits to be tested, and it will enhance public safety by identifying offenders and preventing future crime. To give you a short background on this initiative, a sexual assault kit is evidence samples that are collected from the body of a victim. These samples are collected by specially trained medical personnel. They are done so in San Mateo County by our amazing color center located at the San Mateo Medical Center. For the most part, the majority of these kits come directly to the Sheriff's Office Forensic Laboratory, and our current policy is to test these kits within 120 days. However, that was not always the case. It was not always the policy, and it was not always the law. In the past, prior to January 1st, 2020, it was an agency's discretion to determine if a sexual assault kit should be tested or not. Oftentimes, the reasons that kits were not tested was based on the specific circumstances of the case. In some instances, the case could not be investigated or prosecuted. This may be circumstances where a survivor does not want to participate with law enforcement involvement or later decides they do not want to participate in testimony during a trial. Kits were untested because sometimes they were unnecessary for the prosecution of the case. It could be bedding or clothing or a used condom had more probative value and was tested instead of the sexual assault kit. It could also be that the kit was unlikely to yield probative DNA samples. These circumstances happen usually when a kit is collected a significant time after the assault occurred. Other reasons some of these kits have been untested in our county is our laboratory is a fee-for-service laboratory, and some law enforcement agencies have more significant financial challenges and have to be selective in what items they would ask to be tested. Lastly, depending on when the kit was collected, the laboratory's capabilities may have been a factor in why kits were untested. We have sexual assault kits going back to 1984 that are still in our possession at the Sheriff's Office. And CODIS, being a means of searching unknown DNA profiles in a known database, was not in existence until 1998. In addition, our laboratory only began doing the modern type of DNA analysis called STR, or short tandem repeat analysis, in about 2006. So we did not yet have the technology available for a lot of the kits that is in our untested backlog. During the time the laboratory was beginning DNA analysis in its modern form of STR analysis, there was a lot of advocacy across the nation to have all untested sexual assault kits tested, but a lot of laboratories had limited resources to do that. Our laboratory was one of them, so we continued to focus on prosecutorial and investigative needs and determining which kits needed to be tested. In California, around 2014, there a lot of legislature passed that has supported survivors of sexual assault. A few of the examples are in 2017, the statute of limitations for a majority of sexual assault offenses went from 10 years to indefinite. That applied to all sexual offenses for listed offenses that occurred and were still within statute of limitation, meaning a lot of sexual assaults dating back to January 1st, 2007 are still currently in statute of limitations and can be filed by the district attorney's office. In 2018, the state required entries by law enforcement agencies and crime laboratories into a database called SAFET. It increased transparency to the legislature, to the state, and to victims and their advocates regarding the testing of sexual assault kits. But this did not solve the problem of the legislature knowing how many kits in total in California remained untested. So in 2019, the state mandated an audit of all sexual assault kits in the state of California. They compiled and published a report in 2020, and there were just under 14,000 kits in California that remained untested. In the county of San Mateo, the participating agencies reported 654 untested sexual assault kits at that time. Unfortunately, not all agencies in our county participated, so that number may be a little bit low. Since that time, the Forensic Laboratory and the Redwood City Police Department have both obtained grants to try and get some of these kits tested. Based on that endeavor, as well as a slight change in the definition of what the state considers tested, I currently estimate there are about 450 untested sexual assault kits remaining in San Mateo County. And I have asked all law enforcement agencies in our county to expedite the currently mandated audit, which is due next year, to get a more accurate number to me as soon as possible. And the reason we are asking for this grant funding instead of testing the kit ourselves is our modern DNA testing has been in place since 2006, and our capacity at the lab has not changed since that time. Our staffing level in our DNA unit is the same as it was 15 years ago. And as you can see, the submissions to the laboratory have more than doubled from that time to 2019. The laboratory, despite these challenges, has worked very hard to think outside the box and to reduce submissions and improve turnaround times. And we've done so by no longer performing testing for agencies outside of our county. We've created a submission form to evaluate incoming evidence, so agencies are requesting the best items to be tested for their case. We audit our cases prior to beginning testing, so if testing is no longer needed, we don't spend our time on it, and we've improved efficiencies within the testing process itself. So as you can see, our submissions have decreased over time. Our backlogs have correspondingly started decreasing over time, but we still do not have the capacity to take on the testing of these 450 untested sexual assault kits. But we persevered. We were not going to give up. It was something that was very important to us at the laboratory to make sure it got done. So we have applied for numerous grants to make it happen, and we finally obtained the one that will. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Do we have any questions? I see Supervisor Spears' hand up. Go ahead, please, Supervisor.
Thank you, Vice President. The reason why I pulled this off the consent agenda is because I was frankly appalled that we are in the situation that we are in. If you look to our surrounding counties, San Francisco cleared its entire backlog of 753 cases in 2014. Santa Clara County has no backlog by the year 2020. Alameda County had 1,900 kits that needed to be tested or cases. They had no backlog by 2019. San Diego, similarly, no backlog as of June of 2024. We've got a black eye here, and I'm deeply troubled that we are in the situation that we are in. And even though the law went into effect that said in 2018 that you had to test all of your cases by 2019, there was no penalty. The only remedy is for a victim to file a writ compelling the agency to comply with its public duty. So we've kind of dropped the ball. And I feel very strongly that whatever it takes, and I want Measure K money to be used if necessary, I think this backlog has to be dealt with and dealt with within a year. So my question to you is, it's great that we've got the grant, but when are you going to have this backlog dealt with? We're really an outlier in the surrounding counties.
I understand. I currently have an RFP open to accept bids from private laboratories who will be able to conduct this analysis for us. The grant term is through June 30th of 2028. And during the RFP process, I will have to evaluate their approach that they propose to us of how quickly they will be able to get them done.
I think 2028 is too late. And, if I need to bring a Measure K funding mechanism so that you can get it done within the next year, I mean, all the other counties have been able to do it. I don't know why we are so, backed, the back of the pack. And I guess part of this is from a situation when I was a county supervisor back in 1982, and we were getting lousy verdicts in rape cases because we didn't have a chain of custody. And I was able to bring an action to the board so that we would improve our chain of custody. But that doesn't help when you've got a backlog of kids that aren't being tested. So I don't know if this should be addressed to the county executive or to the sheriff's office. But I think that it's really shameful that we're in this situation, and I don't want to wait to 2028. So whatever it takes to get this done quicker, I want to see us do it.
I understand. I will do my best to do that. Yes.
Hi, good morning. Sergio Enriquez here. I'm the newest member of the executive team, the Assistant Sheriff overseeing Operations Division. Although I do not oversee the crime lab, I did take a tour of it recently. And I can assure you as a newcomer here, what I have seen with Director Del Porter is that she's trying her best. And I'm certainly not trying to defend our numbers, but I can tell you that what is being done there, I'm impressed with what I saw. I understand that there is a backlog, and we're trying our best with what we have. And we will be able to put this into motion and move it forward and do our best to catch up. But I will tell you that what I saw coming from the region that I come from, it is impressive the operation that she has running. Now, there's not.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that it should have been a higher priority for the Board of Supervisors, and I will do whatever is necessary to make sure that we address these in a much more expeditious fashion. So bring to me whatever you need, and I will make the case, because we really are in a shameful position as compared to our colleagues in other counties in the Bay Area.
Thank you, Supervisor Spear. I do just want to ask that we please be mindful of not interrupting speakers. That being said, were you finished with your comment? Okay. I will hand it over to Supervisor Mueller, and then I have some questions as well. Go ahead, Supervisor.
So Supervisor Spear, I want to thank you for bringing the item off consent to talk about this. And what I really would like to see is within 60 days a report back with where we are in the process and action items of how we can move it up, how we can get this done before 2028. So in 60 days, that should give you enough time to know what's happening with the RFP. We should be able to identify hurdles and there are some concrete actions for the board. I think everyone is in agreement where we are today isn't acceptable. So I appreciate, if Supervisor Spear, if you're welcome to that, I can make that motion or you can, but I think it's appropriate.
I have questions still.
Yep.
So thank you. Would you like to respond to that, or?
I can absolutely have something ready. The RFP has a pretty tight timeline, and it will be completed by that time.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask some clarifying questions, and actually I do want to extend my thanks to Supervisor Spear for pulling this item. As someone who's been focused on domestic violence in our county for years now, this area is new, but it's not new to the community, obviously, but there is a lot of energy around more community support on this issue, and sounds like you are the expert. We need to be speaking to you. Let me get to my question, and then I'll go back to my comments. But from my understanding of the report, were we not brought up to speed in 2021, and there were no backlog cases at that point, or is that incorrect?
That is incorrect. The audit that was conducted in 2019 did identify the 642 untested kits. At that point in time, most law enforcement agencies in the county, including the sheriff's office, focused on getting current with the law, which is January 1st, 2016 forward, to have all of those tests completed. So the majority of the remaining untested kits are from 2015 all the way back to 1984.
Thank you so much. And then, so this grant actually funds testing for the backlog, but what about current testing? You mentioned a bandwidth issue with staff. Are we able to test kits as they come in at this point?
Yes. In the last 4 years that I've been at the laboratory, we have been able to test all kits within 120 days. We do not have a backlog of any current untested kits.
Perfect, thank you. And then the MOU mentions quarterly reports required to the California DOJ starting October 1st of this year. Was this report made on October 1st?
We only had to complete the report if any kits were tested during that time frame, because we still have not officially accepted this grant through the Board of Supervisors, and because we have not completed the RFP process, we have not completed any testing on those untested kits, so the report was not required for the first quarter.
Understood. I'd like to make a request that when those reports are made, that they are also made to this board so that we can stay informed. I hope we can include that in a motion. Are we public comment and then remarks? Okay, thank you.
Sure. We'll take public comment. I don't have any speakers from this room, so Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Public comment on Zoom now open for item 28, moved off of consent to regular, the sheriff's item. We do have one hand raised, and I'll call on Sid Young. Please unmute and begin.
Hi, Suki, I forgot to mention thank you for your great service to San Mateo County, and you will be greatly missed. And then on to this item. I'm just wondering if you have to send it out to a off-campus lab, maybe since you have such a big backlog, maybe you could hire someone to do it in-house, because you have a deficit of employees that do that kind of work. Maybe if you had one more person under your department, you could do it. That's just my thought. I wanted to put that out there in case it's cheaper than sending it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. So I had some remarks I wanted to make on this one. So I want to thank you for the work that you do. It's really important work, and it's hard to do vital, critical work when there's not the right support in place. It sounds like, the increase in cases and the lack of an increase in staffing has led to the situation that we're in. But it is very true what Supervisor Spear said, that we should have been able to get this taken care of years ago, but here we are, and so let's move forward. And I wanted to actually name that what was formerly our domestic violence council task force is now our Coalition to End Violence, Abuse, and Exploitation. And the shift in the name was made very intentionally because the council has a lot of energy around wanting to include and focus on sexual assault. And, we, for many months, had no representation at these meetings from the sheriff's office, and more recently have had representation from leadership, but not with the expertise that you have, which is exactly what we need. So I'd like to make a formal request that we have stable representation from the sheriff's office with people that have insight into the specific work that we are working to address. I know I think that just makes the most sense, and we want you and your work, Director Del Porto, to have the support and the community buy-in so that we can move forward together, because survivors of sexual assault deserve more support, and that doesn't just happen by accident. It happens through your work, it happens through collaboration, through community, and we are hoping that our future Family Justice Center will be a place of healing and support for survivors, and a resource to law enforcement to have somewhere they can send survivors when they need additional services to walk them through, the crisis and the harm that they've received. Those are my remarks. Would anyone else like to add? Supervisor Mueller?
I just ready to make a motion.
Can I just make a comment? I just want to
Please,
thank
go ahead.
you for the work that you've done. You've gone out and you've obtained this grant. Today we're going to approve the grant. I do agree with what we've heard. We'd like to get the backlog out of the way and get everything caught up. And I believe you want to do the same thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today seeking us to accept this grant. So again, thank you for your presentation. And I know that Supervisor Mueller's ready for a motion.
Okay. Unless there are further remarks, we will take a motion.
So I'm going to go ahead and move that we adopt the resolution authorizing execution of the agreement with the California Department of Justice, Bureau of Forensic Services for distribution of the fiscal year 2025 sexual assault evidence submission grant program funds to the Sheriff's Office, and also authorizing the appropriation transfer request in the amount of $2,362,500 from the unanticipated revenue for the fiscal year 2025 sexual assault evidence submission grant program. Also going to include in the motion that at 60 days there will be a report back to the board on the status of the RFP with identifiable steps to rapidly clear the backlog, as well as a request that until the backlog is cleared, quarterly reports that are given to the state with respect to that backlog would be shared with the board.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to just say that this was no reflection on you, Mr. Del Prado. It was really just a recognition that we have dropped the ball as a county.
Thank you. I'll take the roll call. Supervisor Spear?
Aye.
Thank you. Supervisor Corzo?
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller?
Yes.
And Supervisor Gaucher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes with Supervisor counted by being absent.
Thank you so much. With that, we are done with our public agenda. We will now be moving to closed session, and there may be a report out. There will be a report out.
Madam President, there may be a report out.
Thank you. We are now adjourned to closed session.
Thank you. The time is now 1:02 p.m. and the board is currently in recess discussing closed session. Thank you. Will it resume in about 15 seconds? All right, Vice President Vice President Corzo, the time is now 2:40 p.m. And for the record, Supervisor Spear and Canepa are both absent, so please proceed.
Thank you. We are coming back from closed session, and our county attorney will report out.
Thank you, Vice President Corzo. I want to report out that on a 4-0 vote with Supervisor Canepa absent, the board approved the initiation of litigation in the San Mateo County Superior Court. Specifics regarding this case, including the parties and the general subject matter, will be made available in the future once the case is initiated.
Thank you. We are now adjourned at 2:40.
Thank you.
Thank you all.